Hello. All right. This is me talking until I get bored. I got a 4-hour drive up the highway. I'm going home right now, and I don't have anybody to talk to. And I'm hitting that stage in my Adderall where I got a lot of thoughts. And I want to talk about stuff because I like doing that. To take my medicine. And when I'm drinking a Diet Coke right now, I got gas at the gas station, and then I went inside and I got a Diet Coke and the honey barbecue Fritos, which I love. I will get to that in a moment. But first, I think I've been having thoughts about stuff, but I believe it was John Green that said he contacted Dr. Pepper because he loves that drink very much, and they were trying to do some branding thing or something, but he suggested to them that they should base their branding off the fact that their soda doesn't taste like anything natural, and it's been perfected or at least crafted to taste to appeal to the palate of humans. It doesn't taste like anything. It tastes like Dr. Pepper. And to me, that's also what Diet Coke is. I like Diet Coke. It's probably of Coke Zero and Diet Coke, it's probably my least favorite, but I so rarely drink Coke regular because Coca-Cola regular. Sorry, that's a video, I think. Because the sugar, I rarely drink sugar sodas. I had a Dr. Pepper. I got Jersey Mike's the other day, and then I got Bojangles yesterday. Woo, road work. Oh, that tractor trailer got fucked. Holy shit. It was like a 15-foot wide gash in the side, and that the trailer was completely ripped open. I have no idea what the fuck happened there. I did have Cheerwine. I like cherry soda. But I don't really drink sugar sodas. I've been taking my Adderall more, and so I've been eating a lot less in general, and I don't consume that much sugar during the day anymore, but I have been lately. But if I don't eat that much, I feel like I'm more comfortable permitting myself to have a sugary soda, for example. But I try to stay away. I drink a fair amount of diet soda and drinks and stuff, so I feel like I can still eat sugary things if I want to and still drink something sweet. But yeah, I don't drink a lot of sugary soda. So I'll drink Coke Zero probably the most often, but I like Diet Coke. To me, Diet Coke tastes like something unnatural completely. It's really its own flavor. You'll hear the place Ben say, "I hate Diet Coke. It tastes like metal." And to me, that's honestly part of the appeal. I don't know. I used to put metal in my mouth as a kid. I realized that's not good. Especially coins and stuff. Coins are really dirty. I could clean coins if I wanted to put them in my mouth, but I won't, because I feel like I accidentally swallow them, and that's obviously not very good. But I like the taste of Diet Coke. But you have to be in the mood for it, It's not a go-to drink for me. Coke Zero is a very easy go-to drink because it tastes so fucking good, right? It tastes so much like regular Coke, and it has no sugar. Drinking a regular Coke kind of makes you feel bad if you're drinking more than just one one regular size can because it's so sugary. But I don't know. Coke Zero it's a marvel of our time, truly. I think it's funny that everything is branding that, like, they're making their own zero sugar recipe now for like companies that have had diet versions for years, and I mean a lot of them are better. Like I've been drinking Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar and Pepsi Zero Sugar recently because they were buy one get one free at Food Lion. I will get to Food Lion in a moment. I have lots to say about Food Lion, actually. So I got those, and I've been drinking them, and they're good. I like Diet Pepsi as well. I had a regular Pepsi. I had a little bit of regular Pepsi. I got Bojangles like a month ago as well. I think when I uploaded that short of me being blue and eating or talking about my Bojangles meal, I had a little bit of regular Pepsi in my cup, and then I got Diet Mountain Dew because I always get Diet Mountain Dew at Bojangles, except this last time when I got Cheerwine because I wanted Cheerwine. But I always usually get Diet Mountain Dew at Bojangles. But yeah, I have Pepsi Zero Sugar, and it's good. Diet Pepsi is pretty good. I don't know if Ben's on record on the channel saying that he likes Diet Pepsi, but he doesn't like Diet Coke. But he does, and I know this. But I think Pepsi Zero Sugar is also good. I think it tastes closer to Pepsi. But I like both. Again, like, I would buy Diet Pepsi. It's just like that's what they had right there. And I don't think I had Pepsi Zero Sugar before. It's good. I like it. Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar is interesting to me because when I first had it, like a year or two ago, whenever like I first saw it, I don't know. I gotta speed up. Sorry, bro. 81 just sucks. Yeah, I was like, wow, this tastes so much like Dr. Pepper. I can't even tell it's a diet soda. I was thoroughly impressed. And as I drink it more, it does start to taste like its own thing. I certainly don't mind it. I mean, I think it tastes close enough to Dr. Pepper. I think Diet Dr. Pepper is also interesting because it does also have its own specific taste. And it's good. To me, it's almost like kind of vanilla-y almost. It's interesting. I don't know. I assume vanilla is probably a part of their 23 whatever, but it's pretty good. I don't drink it much. I know a couple people at least who prefer the flavor of Diet Dr. Pepper, interestingly enough. But I don't remember where I was going with this. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, bro, you gotta go. Go, please. I don't know why the highway is so busy. It's like noon on a Saturday. Anyway, Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar is good. Coke Zero is very good. But yeah, I'm drinking a Diet Coke, and it's good. But I don't know. I don't know what the qualifications for me to be in the mood for a Diet Coke is. Like, there are times when I'm like, oh, I feel like a Coke Zero would be just too sweet almost. And maybe that's it. I just don't want something too sweet because the sweetness of a Diet Coke doesn't taste like sugar. Whereas Coke Zero, when you're drinking it, it feels like it's trying to fool you into thinking it's sugar. Which I find interesting because, I mean, the recipes are clearly different enough where they have a very distinct taste from each other. But I'm not really sure what specifically like makes me want to be in the mood for a Diet Coke. But I got it, and I was like, yeah, I definitely want that over a Coke Zero. So Food Lion, I would like to talk about now. I do most of my shopping at Food Lion because I feel like Kroger's a little more expensive in my areas. I've got Kroger and Food Lion. There's also Walmart and Target. I feel like those are the main places you can get grocery stores. I don't like going to Walmart that much anymore. I try to avoid Walmart if I can, and I usually can. Oh, there's also Aldi. Like, I should probably go to Aldi more, but I get... The Aldi where I live kind of sucks. Aldi's very location dependent, but I do kind of love Food Lion. Because they always have so many sales on things, and if you just put in a phone number, like you have to register for their MVP shit. It's the discounts are crazy, but also like their discounts are like it's on different things normally, but they're always there, and I'm like, I feel like groceries nowadays. I don't know if this is just a Food Lion thing or this is everywhere, because like when I go to Food Lion, let's say I spent like it was a $96 bill recently, and I got it down to like $72 just by putting in a phone number. Like, is that not insane? Like, why would I ever shop without doing your membership ever? Like, I feel like if I didn't go to Food Lion normally, like what would be enticing for me to shop there? Because the prices on groceries like anywhere are just absurd. But I'm kind of astounded by the amount of money they're willing to throw away just because you're a member there. But I mean, I assume it's all within their profit margins, and you know, they're already hiking things up so high that they're still able to come out with profit easily by giving those discounts. And you know, it's a loyalty program. I don't even have the app or anything. Like, I don't get coupons online because I use my mom's phone number. I could sign up, I just haven't. But I think it's a little absurd, you know, just living in general. Food Lion, I think A-tier grocery store. I don't know if I've ever met an S-tier grocery store, but I mean, there are some that I do care for quite a lot. I've come around on Food Lion. Like, I didn't really start shopping there until about a year ago. But you know, if you'd asked me a year ago if you could rank Food Lion on a tier list, I'd probably put it at C, because like every Food Lion you're in always feels kind of dingy. Like, I'm not rich by any means, and it's like my family's not even like upper middle class or anything. Like, they don't give me much money for things. I make my own money, and so I have no problem shopping at a Food Lion. Like, I have no need to go to any bougier of a grocery store, you know. And again, the discounts, that's what's enticing for me, and that's their whole scheme. But yeah, as I at least am more enticed to go shopping there, which is, you know, what they want, because I can spend money on things and get, you know, prices that were closer to reasonable, like pre-COVID, like they're like a 12 pack of sodas. Like I bought the Dr Pepper Zero Sugar and the Pepsi Zero Sugar, and those were without the MVP discount. Like I think $10.50 each, which is absurd. You spent $24 or $20 on 2 cases of soda, but it's like I put in my phone number and now it's like $5 each, and that's so much more reasonable. And so it makes me at least feel like, okay, I have a reason to keep coming back. And I don't know, I feel like Kroger kind of has bad vibes. I don't care for it. I don't really want to go to Kroger. Target is stupid. If you grocery shop at Target, I think you're weird or privileged or both. So just don't do that. Aldi's fine. Aldi is insanely location dependent, I think. Like, there are definitely better Aldis, but the one by me is really small. I think I've been there probably 4 times at least, and I've never seen them have bananas stocked. I don't know if there's like a banana monster just hoarding all the bananas so nobody can get them, or what, but they never have bananas. But I mean, the rest of the produce I feel like I've gotten fine. Aldi's good because it's cheap. I feel like because it's location dependent and it varies so much, it would be like a B tier, but their prices, are the best of any grocery store. Lidl is just like a weirder Aldi. I guess I would also put it B tier. I don't know how local Weiss Markets is, but that's like my OG. That's my never fail. That's my day one. I do love a Weiss Markets. They made a really nice one in this bougier area of town. I've never been, but I've seen pictures and it's like insane. And I like, maybe I would like to go there someday, but that's in my hometown and not where I live now. So I mean, I'd have to go out of my way to visit that. Kroger, I'd say C tier. I don't really know what their discounts are like. Bad vibes, but it's like fine, I guess. And Giant Eagle is like a C tier. It's an interesting place, but I haven't been in a Giant Eagle in so long, and also Kroger just bought Giant Eagle. So like, who cares? It's Kroger again. It's just going to be more Kroger. Safeway. I kind of hate Safeway. It's like always there, but it's the most expensive, I feel like, for being the one grocery store in my small town that's actually in the town and not like the Weiss that I go to is just outside the town, and I love Weiss. Weiss also is usually good for gas. My Weiss has gas pumps, and they have for a few years now. When they first opened up, their prices were like way better, but now that they're like established, they have normal gas prices. But I can rely on Weiss, and I do love Weiss. But Safeway just kind of sucks. Not great vibes. Like decent vibes. Like, it could be worse. I don't know. Kroger feels like desolate to me. Excuse me. I don't know if H Mart really counts. I mean, it should. Like, it's a staple for the international, or I'm not gonna say international people, but for I don't want to sound racist. I don't want to just call them like ethnic or something, but there are large immigrant populations, a large Hispanic population, a large, I guess, Middle Eastern. I know there's I don't want to call them Arab, but I don't know exactly where they're from. But in particular, there are ethnic families, and a lot. I see them at the H Mart shopping a lot, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. I like the H Mart. I normally go there just to eat at the food court, but I feel like their produce is always good, mostly reasonable price. They've got a lot of cool stuff, but I don't know. It doesn't feel enough like a grocery store to me. So I just don't know where I would put it. I had one, but I forgot. Oh, right, ShopRite. I do love the ShopRite that's by my grandma's house. That place, I don't know, that's good vibes. ShopRite, at least A tier. It's been too long since I've been there, but that big old ShopRite, that's a cool place. I got good memories there. I think, I don't know, I've always had a good experience there for the most part. Wegmans, A tier. It's pricey, but it's Wegmans also. Good vibes, good food. I don't know. I always like going to Wegmans. It's a special occasion type of thing. I would like to shift back to Food Lion though, because I forgot. Like I was thinking about this, but then I started talking about more grocery stores. Food Lion in particular. Another thing for them in their favor, I think, they usually have good generic products. In particular, one of my favorites, they have a version of fudge stripe cookies called fudge striped shortbread cookies that are great. They are delicious. I love those. Their bagels are decent. You know, another thing about Weiss is that they probably have the best grocery store bagels that I've had. I think Weiss Bakery, great bagels. But yeah, I mostly buy, unless they're on sale, like the grocery store brand products, and Food Lion has a good variety. Their meat is usually good. I mean, I'll buy a lot of chicken breast, and it's, you know, priced well for the meat that it is, I would say. And it's, you know, it's fresh. It keeps well. So I feel no issue giving Food Lion my patronage for a variety of reasons. I've had mixed experiences with some of their products though. Like, I bought Food Lion queso once, and that was nasty. Like, that's the only thing I've gotten from them that I'm like, wow, this does not taste good. So, as disappointed as I was, because I'd become trusting of their generic products, for the most part, I really don't have any other issues. I was thinking about something else that I was going to do after grocery stores. I'll talk about cars. I fucking hate car-centric America. Car-centric society, among other things, one of the biggest reasons, one of our biggest failures as a species is allowing the Ford lobby, the Dodge lobby in America and, you know, elsewhere after, you know, the early 1900s to completely just control how we live. We used to have buses everywhere. We used to have trains you could take between like states that were affordable, that were everywhere. Like I hear and see about like Union stations, like these beautiful train stations that were they once, you know, went between. You could go fucking places, but they're either decommissioned at this point or museums, and it's like it's just sad because cars, they're so dangerous. They're pollutants. They're you know, probably the biggest component of pollution, period. At least, you know, atmospheric pollution. But the fact that if you don't live in a walkable city, you are required to have a car to live, it's just absurd. It's very sad. You know, it's terrible for people with disabilities that, you know, should they have access to public transportation, they would be able to, you know, live their lives better if, you know, in the event that they don't have somebody to drive them everywhere. And okay, before I get too political, I would like to talk about car culture, and specifically in America. I'm looking at a Ford Mustang and two Chevy Suburbans right now as I drive my 2004 Honda Accord. Why are we slowing down? I think Americans are extremely entitled, especially when it comes to their vehicles. I think... Where are they going that way? I don't know. Maybe they're just getting off. But these giant cars like Suburbans, they're so dangerous for other drivers, and that's why American cars keep getting bigger. Because I think, mostly in good faith, people are like, I want to protect myself, I want to protect my families, you know, I want to get the safest car, and so dealerships will sell them, oh yeah, you know, this Grand Wagoneer, or this, you know, this Suburban, or whatever, yeah, this will keep your family safe. It's so big, and it's so bulky that, you know, if you get into an accident, you're the one coming out on top. But I think that's in the wrong direction. I think we need to limit the size of these vehicles. I think trucks, like pickup trucks, need to be limited in, you know, how they can be modified and what they're used for, because people are buying them as status symbols, and it's dangerous. These vehicles are they disgust me. They really do. Like, there's really no reason for that. If you're hauling shit all the time, okay. Then if you want to get like a small SUV, that makes sense. If you have to work and you need to haul stuff, I think you should, to be able to get a pickup truck, you should provide your work or something. You should need to get a permit, and I like. It's so dangerous, and as trucks just become bigger and bigger, and people, I see, I kind of live out in it's suburbia surrounded by a rural area, but it's one of those places where you see it's well off enough where you'll see people that want to act country driving insanely modified lifted trucks. Or I saw such a stupid looking vehicle, a squatted truck yesterday, and these things have the brightest lights you've ever seen. Every single person driving them is a douchebag. They're raised so high up, and like it's a terrorist machine. It's like you are terrorizing normal people who just want to drive on the road because they have no other choice. If I could take the bus everywhere every day, I would, but it's either so inconvenient or just impossible. But now these people, they don't use their truck for anything like valid, right? They're just driving on the road all the time. These guys with lifted trucks, they don't do any fucking real work. They do it just to show off to their buddies. They like, you look stupid. I can immediately tell that by owning that vehicle, you are just a douchebag. And I can't get past the fact that you would willingly own something like that and be proud of it and do that to a vehicle. Pickup trucks are supposed to be for work, and you're doing that. Why? Because you are insecure about who you are as a person, and you can't find any way to compensate. I think you need to do a lot of soul searching before you put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the worst vehicle I've ever seen. It's just they put others at risk. And another thing I hate is LED headlights. They're also so dangerous. We need lumen regulations so bad. I think any vehicle above a certain height, like any pickup truck, for example, should not be allowed to have LED headlights, at least as their main setting. I think halogen bulbs should still be the standard, because these light bulbs, they're absolutely blinding. I was driving yesterday and I got hit with LED lights on the other side of the road in the middle of the day, and like it still like left a spot in my eye for a couple of minutes. I'm like, why do we have these? Who does this help? For people that live in mountainous areas, or places that aren't well lit, like I've interacted and I've known people who I've gone to visit, for example, who live in the middle of nowhere, up a big ass mountain where you can't see at all at night. And I think in those situations, having brighter lights are good. They're helpful. You gonna let them in? Okay. But as soon as you're driving with other people on the highway, those things have to go. They're blinding in my rear view. They're blinding in my side view mirrors as somebody who drives a normal sized car. And I can't do anything about it. I have okay eyes, but they're very sensitive. And it's distracting for me. I feel it makes driving more dangerous for everybody involved. I hear so many reports. I've seen dash cam videos of somebody getting blinded from LED headlights that were driving the opposite direction on like a 2-lane road, and then they collide head on because that person's not paying attention, and then the person that's getting blinded, they can't fucking see. And this doesn't help anybody, especially on the highway. Like, people drive with their high beams on, with their LED high beams on the highway, and even then, when they're not on, it's like they're so bright. It's like there are times it's so bright it's painful for me. And I've heard thousands of other reports as well. These only exist as a selling point for cars, because everybody wants to have the best thing, and everybody wants to be like, oh yeah, my car is so good, I have all this shit. But I don't know how you can drive a vehicle and not recognize the danger of these things just by being around other people who have these kind of headlights. And yet you still choose to get them yourself? What's the thought process? Is it really it's really mind-numbing. Like that's the sort of entitlement and it's selfishness. They don't care about how that impacts other people. And that also goes with people who drive, lifted trucks or buy giant pickup trucks and then don't use them for anything other than driving to their office job. Like, you don't need that. You just don't. It's dangerous. I think they need to be regulated. I think we need to tear down car-centric society entirely and base it on rail transit and bus transit. But that's a whole thing. I think we at least need to gradually reduce getting cars off the road, because if we're gonna have a livable planet in the next 50 years, that's one thing that absolutely needs to happen. But there are plenty of societies that have like infinitely better public transit, and it's not a problem. In fact, it's wonderful. It's a great thing. Like China, Japan, absolutely stellar public transit systems, and they still have cars. You can still own a car. You can still drive places. You can still do whatever you want. But those things are so much more efficient at transporting other people for the amount of fuel they use. And I understand liking the convenience of a car. You get to have all your stuff, and you get to go wherever you want, whenever. And there are applications of it, but these things just cannot last in society until, either we go full stop on electric vehicles only after we switch to nuclear power entirely. I'll talk about fossil fuels and energy after I'm done with this, but car-centric society is we're killing ourselves. Among every other reason we're polluting we're polluting the planet. We're killing ourselves in the name of what? Of our own comfort, our own selfish views of how we should live life, our own isolated bubbles. Like, I'm in my car, I'm one person. Virtually every other car on the road right now is just one person. We're expending so much fuel. So there's so many emissions. Like, obviously we have catalytic converters, but it's only converting toxic nitrogen oxides to carbon dioxide, which is still a greenhouse gas. And like the nitrogen oxides are worse for the environment, but we're still putting off so much CO2 that it's not like that much better in the first place. There's a lot of racism involved in car-centric society as well. They're like, time and time again, city planning, like you'll see city planning maps for places all across America where they just plowed through, like straight through the middle of either up and coming or impoverished communities of minorities, especially black neighborhoods in many cities. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I've seen many examples of this, and it completely destroys the connection that those people had with each other, it puts off smog because, shit that comes out of a car engine is toxic. It's not good for you to be breathing that in, and now you're putting a highway through already underprivileged people, and obviously it's not going to help them. It's not going to help. It's only going to be making things that much worse for people who are struggling. And it's just a shame how the people who have so much control over us, just as regular citizens, do whatever they can in the name of making another dime for themselves and, their other rich, disgusting friends. I just hate everything about the automobile, and I wish we could have never gotten to this point. Oil should not really be the resource that it is, and I mean, obviously, oil isn't only used for cars. It's, all sorts of machinery and shit. But it should be delegated to things that we actually need and to improve quality of life, like factory machinery, air conditioning, like things like that, if we need to use it. But quite frankly, there should just be so much less of a need for it. It's burning that shit, it releases carbon dioxide. Oil is just hydrocarbons as far as I know. And you combust hydrocarbons, it turns into carbon dioxide and water. And carbon dioxide, it's like the greenhouse gas. It's causing climate change. We're destroying the planet as always. But if I can get you to take away one thing from this video, it's that natural gas, there's no green coal, there's no environmentally efficient or environmentally friendly way to burn coal, to burn fossil fuels, to burn natural gas. It all puts out CO2. All you're doing is burning a carbon hydrogen compound, and the combustion of every hydrocarbon ever results in carbon dioxide and CO2. Okay, maybe not every hydrocarbon ever. Like benzene, for example, that's still a hydrocarbon, toluene. But like alkyl chains, like coal is just carbon. You ignite it, it turns into carbon dioxide anyways. But for the most part, you're like, even if you're burning benzene, you're still putting out toxic shit. So what I'm saying is that we need to rely on real natural resources such as wind, solar, geothermal, but by far and away, we need nuclear power more than ever. That is the way we are going to save our planet. If we do not have nuclear power completely fueling society soon, we're not going to have a livable planet, and we are going to destroy quite possibly the most unique and special place in the universe. I mean, I've thought about this a lot, but what we define life as life could be completely irrelevant to things that are extraterrestrial. Our definition of life could be completely wrong or unapplicable to space. Like But we have our life. We have our planet that is, as far as we know, there is actually nothing like it. And the fact I'm not religious, but I am a scientist. I don't love biology. I'm a chemist. But the fact that shit happens is it's ridiculous. It's so insane. The odds of life coming to be and us having a consciousness, I think the fact that we're able to have control over a body, it's once you understand what things are made of, and how this shit works. We're all just chemicals, and all of our enzymes and cells and shit. It's all just made of carbon and phosphorus and hydrogen and whatever. But the fact that we're wasting that because we want to make more money for people who don't care about us, and we don't want to help each other as much as we can. It's depressing. I think the anti-nuclear lobby is just so strong, and it's obviously fueled by coal, fossil fuels, and natural gas companies. But it's nuclear power will solve so many of our climate change problems, and we cannot, why would we ever want to let this planet go to waste? I think people that deny climate change are stupid, are ignorant. I think their beliefs are harmful as they spread them unto others. And people that understand science, and even people that don't really, they can at least acknowledge that things are wrong, and that there is a way out. We basically solved the hole in the ozone layer that was melting the ice caps, and now it's just global temperatures rising that are doing that now, that are melting ice in Arctic regions that should have never been melting in the first place. But we got rid of chlorofluorocarbons from pretty much the entirety of our life, and it worked. The hole in the ozone layer that we ripped in the 90s or whatever is really it's restored itself, and that's a wonderful thing. And funding science is the reason for that. And if you don't want to believe science, what are you going to believe? You have no empirical evidence for anything else. The people that study these things for their entire lives, they want nothing more than to help you understand that there is a way out, and that we can do something about this, and that you should be alarmed, because the planet it's facing catastrophic climate collapse at this point, like we haven't seen in millions of years, for things like ice ages, or just it's heartbreaking. I don't know. I do know, actually, but I think there's no reason to be afraid of nuclear power, and I think it would be adopting nuclear power globally would be absolutely game-changing for everyone involved. It would make electricity so cheap. It would make carbon emissions go down by trillions of tons. And yet, we can't do anything about it because the people that are controlling the resources have so much money, and the people that make the decisions about what gets allowed are taking that money, and they're making obviously the wrong decisions to allow these people to continue to mine and burn coal, to mine for oil, to mine for natural gas deposits and things like that. And excuse me, what do you do as a person trying to live life? What do you do? It's very hard seeing things like in such an awful state, and yet you see a clear way forward in solving so many of the world's problems that stem from my country as an American. I feel like I was raised to be a patriot. I want to be proud of my country, but in the last 5 years, I didn't really become politically inclined until the end of the Trump administration, I would say. I didn't really understand it because I'm 20 years old. I'm almost 21. And so I was in 8th grade when COVID started, and that was near the end of the Trump administration. I had a lot of time on my hands during COVID. I spent a lot of time on Twitter, and that's where I kind of first learned to see what was happening. And then George Floyd. I think that was probably my first real political awakening. Is that that was my first real noticing, shit's not right. Let me read my timeline straight. It's that was right near the beginning of COVID, which was March. So yeah, Trump had the entirety of 2020, and obviously he handled that horribly. And then I was relieved for the most part when Joe Biden was elected. I felt we had some room to breathe, at least. And things were better. Obviously, ICE was still operating. And there were issues. I still don't love Joe Biden and the fact that he allowed his administration to continue donating military funds to Israel, but you really take what you can get. I think he became unfit for office pretty quickly into his career, just with his age. I really wish that he explicitly said he would not be returning to office 2 years into his presidency or something. So Harris or somebody else could have, potentially had a chance. But it's like, it's really like electing Democratic politicians to the presidency is like buying time against the GOP, because as soon as the GOP steps into power, they're fucking shit up. It's the difference between Democrats and Republicans is that Republicans, they'll just do it in your face. I hate Donald Trump with every fiber of my being, and I will say that for the rest of my life. I don't know if I have the heart to talk about. I'm already, not happy about the things I've discussed already. Besides Food Lion, I guess, and Diet Coke, but Donald Trump is just one of the most horrible, awful people in human existence, period. And I think everything he's done in his second term of presidency has just been out of pure spite and malice and selfishness and evil. And he has not made one good decision. One decision that helps the people. And if it were a Democrat politician like Harris and Waltz in office, they'd just not really be doing anything. Like, I get stepping into what the Biden administration had left. They set things up okay. Gas was still pretty high. Groceries were increasing. But I mean, we elected Donald Trump, and now look how things are. Every day is just reading a new headline about how devastating. It's like something new caused directly by him. Some bullshit, and another reason that proves he's a cancerous sack of shit on our country, on our planet, and it's just another reason to have less hope for the future, because it's pretty clear he's just doing things for the shit of it, and he wants things to go down with him just because he can make that happen. And I think that's just, it should qualify to get you hung. I think you should die a tortured, disgraceful death for being the person that Donald J. Trump is. Even if he wasn't in the Epstein files a million times over, I think he should die disgraced and charged with treason of the highest level. And I think before they let him die, they should inflict upon him pain, even 1/100th of the amount he had caused hundreds of citizens in this country. Not even remarking to the people that he's affected in places such as Palestine, Lebanon, Iran, by way of Israel, and the billions of dollars that he has been sending Benjamin Netanyahu in taxpayer money. So, bottom line is I fucking hate that guy. I just really don't want to talk about, what he's specifically done in depth, because I have too much to say, and I'm not really in the mood for it. But, obviously under Trump, we're never going to have nuclear power. He's far too in-depth with the lobbies of things like coal, oil, gas. He loves fracking. In the debates against Joe Biden, he was like talking about how Joe Biden hates fracking, and Joe Biden had to be like, no, I don't hate fracking, which I thought was a pussy move. You're like, that was fucking cowardly, Joe. Take a fucking stand. Fracking is terrible. It's horrible. It poisons people. Like fracking kills people. Fracking kills a lot of people. What does this guy do? Dude, you gotta get over, man. Go, please. Anyways, fracking, terrible. And it's crazy, like, he was like using that as a point against Joe Biden as if it were even remotely a bad thing. And then the fact that Joe Biden had to step back and be like, no, I actually don't. Even though he lived, like, I'm pretty sure when he lived in Delaware, he lived like right next to an oil processing plant or some shit, and he's talked about how toxic it is. And I'm sure he knows deep down how, bad fracking actually is, but, those lobbies are so in deep with all of our politicians. Like, what do we do as citizens? I wish that, smart people with more fucking spine, more soul, truly ruled us, and not the heartless sellouts that have been, the ones that have owned every cent of every dollar we've ever owned, and every inch of our bodies. Like, we don't truly have autonomy. Our lives are completely guided and controlled by the oligarchs that have been in power, and we kind of have no choice but to abide by it. It feels like, unless something changes. I get sad thinking about the political state of the world. It's just awful in so many ways, and living at the heart of it, is about as depressing as you'd expect. And I think the world is in one of the worst places it's been if we don't get our shit together soon. Very, very soon. We're done for as a species in less than 100 years. I truly believe this. Oh, I'm stopping. Oh boy. Oh, wait. Shit. Okay, wait. No, I don't know. Yeah, I took the wrong exit. Uh-oh. I gotta pee. But there's gas stations up the road. That's fine. I wanted to go to Sheetz because I love Sheetz. I love Sheetz. I'll talk about Sheetz after, because that's more of a happy topic for me. But yeah, nuclear. We need it so badly. We need it so badly. As well as socialism. Socialism. That's how we stop people from dying of hunger and dying of conditions they can't afford, dying of cancer just because they got it, can't pay for their treatment, dying of diabetes because they couldn't afford insulin after Donald Trump removed his insulin cap and then put it back in his own name. But insulin is more expensive now, as far as I know, even though it was capped at what, like $35. It's everything is terrible and disgusting. I'm looking for this gas station, but I guess it's like a mile down the road. I'm not gonna too much about politics more for now, at least, or like I'll say it explicitly for now. I think Zohran Mamdani's popularity and his presence in the biggest city in the country, most important city in the country, maybe aside from Washington, D.C., if you want to say that, but I think Zohran Mamdani is it's refreshing, and I have to turn left. It's good to see somebody with good intentions, with care for the people that he has to that he's taken the responsibility of protecting and being in control of. I think he's already doing such a good job with that, and I'm so sad that he cannot run for president, being from or born in, I believe, Uganda. But I think it would at the very least inspire more people to take a stand, and people who want to be in political positions, who hold similar views, and I think it'll inspire them to put themselves out there like he did himself. I think he's a great guy. I think that I hope his presence in the public sphere inspires people and shows them that socialism isn't scary communism, and it helps people. Socialism is the way to allow people to have their business, to have their money, to own the things they want to own, but also to help the people that need help. And I would love to see the 2028 Democrat candidate be a socialist, but I have low expectations for that. I feel we're gonna see one of like Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris. I can't think of anybody else that would even stand a chance. Like somebody like Wes Moore would be, I think, a good step in the right direction, but I just don't think he's got the popularity for that. But I hope in the future we will see more people in power that truly want to help their people. I gotta go to the bathroom, but I'll be back and talking about sheets later. Okay, I'm back. I took a pee-pee. I actually tried to poop too, because I thought I had to, but it didn't work. Where you going, lady? I said, dude, never mind. Anyways, whole am I right? I'm gonna start talking about happier stuff now. Because that did make me a little depressed. Please go. What? Old people over the age of like at least 70. If I had my way, 65 should have to test for their license every year. And I'm not going to say more than that. Sheets. I think it's the best gas station out there. You know, I don't like to celebrate gas stations, but as an establishment, I respect them. You know, I wish we didn't have to have gas stations, but it is what it is. Oh, my directions went away, and I don't really know where I'm going. Lots of snacks, good vibes. I feel like I can always trust the Sheets when I'm in there. It's like consistently one of the least sketchy places to be when you need to piss in the middle of the night while you're driving. So I'll trust the Sheets, you know. Not a bad place to be. Sorry, I don't know where I'm going. I mean, I like the food. It's good enough. Like, it's not gourmet. You don't expect like a lavish meal from a Sheets. They have so many options. You know? You can just get stuff and it tastes good. It's like, nice. I don't know how much of a hidden gem this is. I don't know what the Sheets audience is like and what they agree. Like what's the best stuff there, but I think the Sheets, Cinnabon, Cinepockets, probably the best item on the menu. Those things are fucking delicious. I don't get them too much, but I'll get them pretty often, especially like if I hadn't really eaten that day. I don't want to get them on top of like a sandwich or whatever. I love those things. And Ben's like, I don't really like sauce. And so he doesn't get the icing, or he doesn't get the syrup with his French toast sticks. He's like, they don't need it. But Ben's wrong, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this, but Ben's wrong. You gotta get the icing. Wonderful. I like the absinthe a lot. Premium absinthe. Oh, I was in low gear on the highway. My car was trying to kill itself. Yeah. Absinthe, mac and cheese bites are good. I like the mac and cheese bites. I was getting them more recently. Bonus bites, classic. Mozzarella sticks, classic. Pork stickers, I just drove by like a flock camper going 85 on it. There's like nobody on the road. I didn't mean it. Yeah, I like the mozzarella sticks. I gotta get the marinara, and I like to get the garlic sauce as well. It's unfortunate that they cost a little extra, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Pork stickers, I don't know the selection for the sauces they have for that. If they've got like a soy sauce or like a duck sauce or sweet and sour sauce or something. But honestly, they taste funny. I was saying good things about the mozzarella sticks. Whatever. I tried the broccoli cheddar bites once, and they were alright. Like I understand the appeal. I probably wouldn't get them myself. I thought they tasted pretty good though. Wisconsin cheese bites. I know it's a favorite. I don't really care for them. They're okay. I don't know. I don't love cheese curds. I'm okay not eating them. I don't think I remember any other options that you can get in your app sampler. What was that noise? Something's like rattling or something. Like a strap. They've got usually pretty good gas prices. They do the unleaded 88. Somebody told me it's supposed to be better for the environment. I don't get it. It might be like better for your cars, and then they got a stock of it, but it's always a lot cheaper. And I think like pretty much all cars that take regular unleaded 87 gas can run 88 after like 2005, but my car's from 2004, and I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I'm not really trying to take that chance right now. I don't feel like I need to. But, it's nice for everybody else. It's interesting because no other gas station sells that shit too. Dude, what the hell is that noise? I wonder if it'll come out on the recording. It sounds like it's raining, but it's not, because I can see my windshield and it's dry out right now. Sheets. Always good snack selection. Well, I'll talk about this. I'll tie this into something else. But they've got the Friel milkshake machines. That noise stopped. It was good. I gotta figure out what that is later. They've got those milkshake machines, and you get the cup out of the freezer and you get up to the machine. The guy's doing it again. It sounds like it's on the roof. It's like rocks hitting my roof, but it's not hailing or anything. I'm thoroughly puzzled by this. They got the Friel milkshake machines. I think that's the only place I've ever gotten one of those. Yeah, they were like alright, but Sheetz does sell milkshakes, and if I'm getting a milkshake at Sheetz, I'm just gonna get their MTO milkshakes. They're okay. I've gotten some pretty good ones. I got some mediocre ones. I don't appreciate how much ice they use in their recipe, and the fact that it doesn't blend well. I feel like most Sheetz milkshakes I get have either chunks of ice or like big pieces of ice at the bottom, and it just doesn't make for a good milkshake. Like, it tastes pretty good until you're like, what the hell is that? Oh my god. It tastes pretty good until you start like getting to the ice chunks and you're like, wow, this is really annoying. It's also hard to drink my milkshake because the straw is just blocked by ice cubes. So I think they should work on that. Now, my big gripe with Sheetz is the fact that there's this sandwich called the Big Mots. It's either a burger or a home-style chicken sandwich with provolone, I think, marinara sauce, chicken or a burger, and then mozzarella sticks on it. And it tastes pretty good. You know, they've got a decent bun selection. They've got like, you know, regular bread, sourdough, croissant. You can get it on a bagel. You can get it on an everything bagel if you wanted to. But you can't get it on a pretzel bun. At least for the deal. You have to construct the sandwich yourself. The Big Mots is like, if you order it, it's like $5 or $6 if you just press on the thing. It's like, try the Big Mots, and then you press order this. And so, you know, if you construct it from all the ingredients yourself, but you put in a pretzel bun, it's like $10. Like double the price just to get a pretzel bun because they don't have it as an option. Why? Pretzel bun literally makes that sandwich. It's so much better on pretzel than any of their other breads. Pretzel bread in general it's better for pretty much any sandwich. I think any chicken sandwich I would just rather have pretzel than a normal bun. Well, not any chicken sandwich, but any chicken sandwich from Sheetz. So, like, why? What's the point of that? Why are we not allowing the people that want to buy your weird sandwich to have the bun option, the best bun option available for the price you've set for the sandwich? I think that's preposterous, if you ask me. I think that needs to change. I also think that if you order I think you should be able to order a spicy Big Mots as well, because they've got the spicy chicken sandwich. But the Big Mots only comes with home-style chicken or a burger patty. And so, like they've got the spicy chicken available. Why not make it an option to make it spicy? Because some people like that. I think, you know, if my chemistry career goes south, she should hire me for product innovation and development, because I've got some good ideas up my sleeve. I know what the people want. What else do I have to say about Sheetz? Their bathrooms are usually interesting. I think they should be bigger. I feel like most of the time they don't efficiently use their space. But I guess they do what they gotta do. They a lot of the time they do leave you wishing they were bigger, in case, you know, one of their 2 stalls are full and you gotta take a poop. Which has happened to me at Sheetz a number of times. the Freel milkshakes. I was talking about this. I'm a college student. Colleges have dining halls. I go to a state school. It's pretty big school. And this dining hall, it's got like one of the little shops in it is like a convenience store. You can buy like snacks and stuff. You can buy drinks or like dry goods. But they've also got like they've got one of those milkshake machines, the Freel milkshake machines. And like they're not good milkshakes. They're pretty shitty milkshakes. But the convenience store thing is right next to the cafe / ice cream store. Like it's a little cafe and they sell ice cream. Like it's a coffee shop. They do coffee and ice cream, and it's right. They make milkshakes that are better. They make pretty good milkshakes. And my thought is, why are you spending money from your dining plan to get a shittier milkshake when you could walk like 50 feet and go get a better milkshake? You have more flavors to choose from. You have better flavors to choose from. Because they got a lot of like very specific flavors of ice cream, and they do like special ones at the ice cream thing, like at the cafe. So like, why? I always thought that was dumb. Why are you just getting a shittier milkshake when you just don't have to? I don't understand. Talk about this. I am very sad for the loss of physical media in gaming and streaming and things. I think it's good that collecting records, vinyl records, is kind of back in again, and vinyl has seen a resurgence. Since it's bigger than it has been since CDs were introduced, which I think is great. Especially with being able to support local musicians that press their stuff, not local but like indie musicians. Like for example, many of us are fans of the band Chat Pile, who we've seen in concert now. We buy their merch, we buy their records, and I think it's great to be able to support those guys. I think, I think they make great music. I think they've got good values. I think they've got great messaging in what they're talking about, and I think they're all really cool. When we were at the concert, they weren't the headliners. It was Fleshwater, but they were the second band that went on, and they were hanging out by their merch table while Fleshwater was playing, and Raygun Bush and it was Luther Manhole and Raygun Bush, I think, first started, and then Ron came over. I don't think Stan was there playing hacky sack, but they got out of hacky sack and they just started playing, and then there was a guy who was hanging around by the merch table, just some random guy, I think, and they just started playing hacky sack with the guy, and then I was like, oh, I want to play. So my friends and I were hanging out back there while the Chat Pile guys were playing hacky sack, with this one guy got in the circle and they started playing hacky sack with us. Those guys were pretty good at hacky sack. They while they're on tour, like, I guess it's just something they do together. But I think it's cool to be able to to meet artists you respect, and then you find out, you know, they're just people, and you know they're cool people too. Like, it's not just their presence that they keep online that you just see through your phone or whatever. But like, I don't know, that really touched me, and I think, you know, as long as they don't go fucking crazy and, you know, say some, or just do something bad, like, I feel like I have no reason not to consider myself a fan of them for a long time. So yeah, that's why I'm happy to continue buying their shirts, continue buying their vinyl records, just as a token of my support for artistry. But you know, this guy's driving a Corvette on the highway and going 5 under the speed limit. Why? Let's see how old this guy is. His windows are tinted, but he looked at least like 55. It's kind of hard to tell though. He needs to lock in and stop obstructing the flow of traffic. But yeah, I think with movies and TV and video games, which is more particularly what I care about, but you know, lots of people, like, film is an art just as much as music or, you know, physical art. I think like physical, like visual art, I mean, there's no shortage of that. People still want to paint and do pottery and sculpt and things like that. But you know, for me, I would consider the creation of a video game to be art. I think there's art within games, but I think in and of itself, the programming and the writing and the decisions made to refine a product that's made to be enjoyed and interpreted for, you know, what you're trying to convey through it, or, you know, what you're trying to provide, even if it's just to make something fun, make something people enjoy. It's like, is that not the same point as music, which is 100% an art? So I think that video games are an art form, and I think with Sony, like, I feel like they removed, they're planning to remove like disc slots or something, and I know like it's being heavily speculated that GTA 6, for example, won't have a physical version, or it'll just be like a download code or something, or excuse me. Like, I feel like I heard the new Xbox, for example, won't have console, like a disc slot, which is, it's crazy. Like, you want to talk about not being able to own things under communism or socialism. Let's talk about not being able to own things under capitalism. Actually, let's not. Because again, the housing market, depressing. Automobiles, depressing in their own right. Everything's rent. You can't buy. And then all your media is digital. You know, books are going online. Books are so expensive, and it's sad. You know, people aren't really reading. What? This person has their blinker on. I've given them more than enough space. I'm okay. I think they just forgot. Books are so expensive. Like, I used to collect manga when I was more school. And like for a couple volumes, like I would buy, three, like maybe 5 or 6 at a time. It'd be like $70, $80, and this was pre-Trump, and now it's even more expensive. But a regular hardcover book is so expensive, and that's like I get that books are kind of a falling industry as everything becomes more digital, but they really don't have to be. And I think physical media is one of the last bastions of being able to have something and truly say you own it. So why companies are pushing for, I want to talk about specifically video games because it's what I know the most about anyways. Why companies are pushing so much to stop producing physical copies of their game. It's not even their game, like it's the developer's game. The reason I continue to support companies that make the games I like, that are mainly Nintendo, is that I have so much respect for their developers and the people that actually put their life into making those games, because there's so much soul. The games are so fun. They're so it's just a shame what corporate overlords are doing to physical media, if we're just going to keep on that topic, but life in general. In reality, it's life in general. Every single industry is ruining our lives, and we can't even have anything anymore. We're not allowed to have anything. They take away your game cartridges, your game discs. You buy your games online through the digital store now, and then nothing stops the companies from being like, oh, actually, you're not allowed to play that game anymore, or you need internet to play this game that has zero reason to require an internet connection in the first place. So, it's inconveniencing for their player base, alongside the fact that I feel like not being able to have the option of purchasing physical media disconnects me from the personal connection I feel with those games, and it's sad. It's really hard to get physical copies of games now. For example, I've been wanting to play Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. I didn't buy it when it came out. I said I would, but then I was busy. So I've been in Walmart, I've been in Target a number of times, and I've never seen a physical copy of the game. Why? People buy these things. People love to support these companies that they care about because they make good products and they make things that are enticing and that make you want to support them. And now they're taking that away. I really want to understand. Is it production costs? Is it they don't want to the little bit of they don't want to pay for the production cost of those cartridges or the discs? CDs and DVDs or whatever kind of disc it is, for Xbox and PlayStation, those have to be so cheap to produce. I don't know about game cards as much. I imagine there's a little bit of gold in those. I just don't know. I don't know anything about computers really. But the been producing these since the fucking Game Boy era, and now it's like, oh, you can buy our game in stores if you want, but you just if you put it into the cartridge into your console, you have to download it. So you need an internet connection to play a physical version of the game, at least for the first time. Once you download it, it's like you can play it. I think I don't have a Switch 2. I've been wanting to buy one since it came out. I just had other big expenses take place, but it's what? Who is that for? Really and truly, who is that for? Doing it in the right way because people want to go fast in the right zone. I wish they had any sort of explanation as for why they're choosing to do this. Everything is just like at the consumer's expense at this point. Yeah. Enforcement trailer. Sorry. I do love Nintendo, but I also love emulating. I download a lot of ROMs, like up to the 3DS era. I mean, there's nothing really I'd want to play on that was on Wii U that I can't already play because I own a Wii U, or that they made a better version of on the Switch. Like they don't sell those games anymore. No, they're not making a profit whatsoever from resold DS games, resold 3DS games, resold Wii games, and so what could possibly be? I guess that because they're re-releasing games again. I'm glad I bought the Super Mario 3D All-Stars when I did, because I think it was a very fair price for the. Very fair as a stretch. That game probably should have been like $40, but it's Nintendo. Every single game ever that they will release will be $60 or above now. Now it's $70 or $80 for some reason, which is a whole other thing. But they released Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 on Switch separately, I think, and they were $40 each. $40 each, even though they'd released it on the Wii U at $20, I think, and they had Super Mario 3D All Stars was $60, and you got to play Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and the Super Mario Galaxy. It's worth it to me. I've put a lot of hours into Super Mario 3D All-Stars across mostly Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy. But I've certainly gotten my money's worth. I think it was a little strange that they made it Jesus, I just flinched because I saw a bug. I'm locked in. But they made it exclusive to, what was it, Mario 35 or whatever, like whatever that year was. And then, it's gone. And I get maybe their intention was to resell those games at a price hike for God knows what reason, but I don't know what year Super Mario Galaxy came out. My guess would be later than 2010. My guess would be 2009. Dude, my roof just started crackling again. Yeah, it hadn't been doing it for like a half hour. Whatever, bro. But yeah, that game is more than 15 years old at this point. So if it came out in 2009, it'd be like 17 years old at this point, which is fucking crazy. 2009 does not feel like 17, but 17 is a long time. But why are you selling a game that came out in 2009 for $40? That game's been out for so long. Like, I get that you're Nintendo and it's Mario and you can, but it feels like a giant fuck you. And I feel like Nintendo's corporate has just gotten worse. Just steadily since the Reggie and Iwata era. Like, I don't even know how Iwata died. I didn't think he was that old. But, you know, I've heard so many good things about that man, and I think Nintendo would be in a staggeringly different place should he still be the president of that company. But, you know, unfortunate things happen. So, yeah, what I'm saying is that I don't feel bad about downloading games that Nintendo themselves doesn't sell for the console they came out for. I don't like, but Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, they're like $20 on Switch. Fine. Whatever. I think that's okay. You know, in the virtual console era for like Wii U and 3DS, like, it would have been like $10. Which is, I think that's reasonable. Obviously, Pokemon is insane right now, especially the trading card game, and so they know they can get away with doing that. And people would have bought that shit if it was $30. Only great people. But I think I downloaded Pokemon Fire Red, and I have a GBA emulator, so I'll play it at some point. That game is so old, and, you know, the people that made it, the difference between, you know, buying a Nintendo game that's been out for 20 years and buying a Nintendo game that came out within the last couple years is that the devs aren't going to see, the devs for the old game aren't going to see, like, much of that money at all. They've made their money on, you know, the sales that happened when the game came out. And so I feel less bad about pirating something they've already re-released on their modern console. And it's weird to call the Switch modern because it's almost 10 years old at this point. And I wish it wasn't, because I wish the Switch 2 was better and came out earlier, and they had something better in the works, because the Switch 2 is good, it just has issues. And I don't think it has to have issues, but they rode the Switch out for so long. And where was I going with this? Yeah, the Switch is old. I think I've had this Switch since 2018 or 2019. It's pretty old. Like, when did the 3DS 3DS come out? The 3DS came out right, like pretty close to when the Wii U came out. I think the DS came out in like 2006. 2004 and 2006. The Wii came out in like... No, I think the Wii came out in 2006. Out in 2012. No later than 2012. Maybe 2011. A dead coyote? That's very sad. I didn't even talk about roadkill right now. That's another thing I hate about cars. The roads so bad for the environment. That's not even talking about the pollution. But talking about Nintendo right now. 3DS came out, I want to say, 2010 doesn't feel right. 2010 feels too old. It came out before the Wii U. I guess 2011. I'm going to put my money on 2011, which also feels too old. 3DS is old. They stopped selling games for 3DS like probably in like 2020 or something. Why was I talking about the 3DS? I don't know. Okay, oh yeah, because like 3DS came out no later than 2011. Like 2010 or 2011, but then they put out 2DS, 3DS XL, 2DS XL, new 3DS XL. They put out more versions of the console, and some of them were better. Like I think the 2DS XL is good. I think if you were to buy one of those as a child, or like somebody buying something for a child, and you were a family kind of on a budget, but you really wanted to make your child happy, the 2DS XL would be the best option. I feel like it was relatively cheap. Like the 2DS was cheap. I got the 2DS for like I had a 2DS with Pokemon Y on it as a kid in 2013 or 2014. Like for some reason I always feel like it was 2014, but it could have been 2013. I think it was like $99, no more than $150, which is great. I don't know if Nintendo was doing $60 games at that point. I wouldn't be surprised. But that's a good deal. It can still do everything important that the 3DS does. It just doesn't feel good in your hands as an adult. I had like 4 2DSs because they would get broken when I put them in my backpack as a kid. But I got a bunch of them through, like, between when I got my first one and when I got my last one. I also had the first 3DS era console I got was it was a red 3DS, the red normal 3DS, and I loved it and it was great, but they had old nickel cadmium batteries in it. And if you would leave them charging overnight, some of them would degrade the battery. And my 3DS got so bad that it would play, like wouldn't hold charge at all, to the point where even if I would play with it plugged in, it didn't work. So that sucked. But then I got a blue 2DS with Pokemon Y. I had at least 2 of those. And then I know I had another one that didn't have Pokemon Y. It might have had Mario Kart 7, or it might have just been no bundle. And I think I feel like I remember having 4, which they gave me a lot of grace, as my family didn't have that much money, but you know, they were relatively cheap, you know, especially compared to now. The 2DS, fine. As a kid, I loved them. I loved them dearly. It's the screens are so small now, and they're not made for adult male hands. The 3DS XL, I did get one near the end of the 3DS's life cycle. I had a new Nintendo 3DS XL. That thing was wonderful. But I was having a sleepover with my friend, and I think I fell asleep on the couch with it next to me. It fell off the couch, hit the hardwood floor, and cracked the top screen. And somebody, like, who's a computer person in my family, told me, like, after we did all the troubleshooting we could, and I was really upset, obviously. They told me, yeah, maybe you could try factory resetting it. I didn't really know what that did. And so I did, and so I factory reset it. It didn't work. The screen's still busted. I want to get it repaired. It's been such a low priority in my life. I still have it, but those aren't hard to get fixed as far as I know. And 3DSs are really, like, high in price right now, so being able to have one that plays, that actually fits my hand, would be great. But I still have that, and it's good, but I can't play it because the top screen is busted. So then I had a 2DS, I think, still after that, and I don't know, within the last 5 years, I found it again. So I have that, and that's what I can play my DS games on. I have plenty of them. I have a bunch of 3DS games. I have a bunch of regular DS games. I don't remember when I got the Wii U. I think I got the Wii U before I got the 3DS XL, and then fall 2017, I got my Switch with Mario Odyssey on it, or I don't remember if it was on it, or I feel like I had no, it was on it. Mario Odyssey was wonderful as well. But then I think I left it in a hot car one time, and it fried the battery, or it fried something, and it died on me, and then I didn't play it for like a year, but we were finally, I lied to Nintendo support, because there were bite marks on it, because I would chew on it, because I have autism and I chew on things. But I lied to them and told them the bite marks were from my puppy, who we had gotten, not long after that thing broke. And so I told them, yeah, my dog chewed on it, and you can see the bite marks, and I sent them the Switch, and they did eventually send me a new one, and that's the one I have now. But yeah, that thing's old, but it's a beast. I still play it. The battery's not great, and I'm sure I could get it replaced, but I'm going to buy a Switch 2 probably this year. Just there's stuff I want to play, and it's better than the Switch. You know, I hear things like, you know, it doesn't really last more than an hour in handheld mode, but not many people are playing Switch in handheld mode nowadays. I feel like a lot of their games aren't super meant for handheld mode anyways, which is unfortunate, but it's nice to have. And I mean, I don't play my Switch in handheld mode. I really haven't in a long time. But, I mean, there are things in the Switch 2's catalog that I'm sure they're going to add. Like, there's got to be a new 3D Mario. There hasn't been one since 2017. It's been almost 10 years. You know, what was the last one before that? Super Mario Galaxy 2? And that came out... What? No, I mean, there's no way Super... Is there really no 3D Mario between Mario Odyssey and Super Mario Galaxy 2? Are we tweaking? Am I geeked out my gourd? Then I think the latest Super Mario Galaxy 2 would have come out. I think it came out between 2010 and 2012. So that game would have been between like 5 and 7 years old. But yeah, now it's been almost 10 years since Mario Odyssey came out. It's been almost 9 years, I guess. Because I think it came out in October of 2017, if I recall. It's been a long time. It's not October of 2026. But regardless, it's been a really long time, and I feel like there's no way they don't have one in the works at the very least. But they haven't even shown a trailer. And I mean, you know how long that Metroid shit took. Like, they showed that shit for the Switch's launch, and that came out like a year ago. Why? The speed limit is 65, and we are going. Why did you slow down to 50? Truck almost sideswiped me. Dude, oh, driving. Go, please. Okay, pardon. I was going 50, but they slowed down. The speed limit was actually 60 and not 65 like it was right before. Whatever. I want new Mario, and that's gonna be on there. I don't think they would have counted Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I would like to play. I mean, it looked really fun. It looked very different. Like, that'd be good. I don't really know if there are any other exclusives besides that and Mario Kart World, which I would play. I'd probably give it at least 50 hours, 50, 60 hours. Because I like Mario Kart quite a lot. I played it a little bit at Ben's house, and it felt so weird because I played so much Mario Kart 8. But, you know, I like Mario Kart. I like unlocking stuff and doing time trials in Mario Kart especially. There's so much to unlock in that game that, you know, I'd sink a lot of time into that. And so when they, I'll be thinking about it more once I find out what exclusives will be in the Switch 2 period. But I mean, it is early in its life cycle technically, even if it's been out for probably a year now. I don't even remember when it came out. Was it winter last year? I don't remember. But it's been out quite some time, and I feel like the Switch had more exclusives, which is, I don't know, everything's so weird with the video game industry. But yeah, that's the thing I don't like, is that with the Switch 2, you can't get a physical game. It's just a cartridge, and you download it. You know, once this stops support for that, they'll never be able to just plug it into another console and play it. Game cartridges should exclusively just store the game's data on it, and not permit a download once you get access to a server. Like, what are we doing? The Switch 2, interesting, but like, I don't know. I'm not super invested. I'd like to see new Animal Crossing would be good. I think they had good ideas. There are things I enjoy about Animal Crossing New Horizons. I put like 400 hours into that game, and my island looks ugly, and it's never looked good. I played it a lot in COVID. I'd play like 10 hours a day for a couple months, which is ridiculous, but one of my big issues with that game is that I felt like the animals had no personality. It was my first Animal Crossing game, so it's like I was taking, criticisms about other people's criticisms about that game with some sort of a grain of salt. But I feel like what I'd seen had shown, each villager at least. Okay, it's raining pretty hard now. I thought like each villager had more to say. They've got their archetypes, but they all have the same voice line, or not voice line, dialogue lines, right? It's like there are 6. I think there's like 6. There's what, if I can remember. There's like normal. There's peppy. There's jock. There's one of them cool. I forget. There's snooty. Lazy. There's lazy. But once you've met a couple of the villagers, it's like they're all the same besides their character model, and that's not. It's not very, very enticing, because you've made so many characters, but they all feel like the same. I think like some of the objectives weren't like the most interesting either. I don't know if this is, a series-wide thing or if it's specific to that game, but I think not allowing you to collect, I think seasons being based on the actual system clock is kind of crazy, because some people aren't just going to be interested in playing a game for a full year, but for somebody like me, I like being a completionist. I like collecting things. I like doing as much as I can in a game that I've fully paid for. And so, like, not being able to catch fish or to catch bugs or things like that based on the time of year, that's off-putting. So I don't know. I think they definitely have things to work on if they want to put out a new Animal Crossing. But I definitely understand that, there was a lot of pressure just because COVID had just hit right around then, and they wanted to release something that people would buy, like a cozy game people would buy while staying inside. And I mean, it worked. People bought the shit out of that game, and it was good. I enjoyed it. But there are things about that game that prevent me from really wanting to play it again. Like, I feel like I put so much effort into my island, even if it looks ugly and stupid, to reset in the first place. But also I get bored while trying to play it again. And so I don't, like, it's kind of stopping me from wanting to play that game. Because I don't want to reset, but I have nothing to do, really. So I feel like there's got to be a way to prevent that. And I know New Leaf is what I hear probably celebrated the most for an Animal Crossing game. I know people liked the GameCube one a lot. I don't know much about Animal Crossing, to be honest. I know they had Animal Crossing, then it was Animal Crossing, City Folk, and Wild World. One of them was for the Wii, one of them was for the GameCube, and then there was New Leaf for the 3DS. I think people really like the GameCube one, but I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what those games really did differently. But I mean, I got a general idea of it in my head. And I don't think they should just make the same game again because that's what worked. Because that's not what Nintendo does. Like, with their spin-offs, they've had some misses, like some of the new Paper Mario games, or people have mixed opinions on Mario and Luigi. I think it was Brothership or whatever, the new one, for example. But most of their new games feel innovative every time, and that's what I love about Nintendo developers, at least. Like, some of their remakes aren't that good, and some of them are literally just change performance stuff and up the graphic settings. Like, I really liked Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon as a kid. So I willingly paid $60 to get it, the Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on my Switch. And I just beat it recently. I had it for like a year. And it was just kind of like a slog to get through. And it was a little disappointing because I loved that game as a kid and I played so much of it. But for the most part, they're games that are new. They're always doing something different that they haven't done, and I really look forward to that in new Nintendo games. Whereas in other scenes of the video game sphere, like the big thing that people always point to is like they put out a new Call of Duty every year. They put out a new FIFA. They put out a new Madden every year, and it's the same thing every time, either worse or not improved at all. Or like a new 2K is what I was thinking of. But you don't see that with Nintendo. I feel, at least. culprits, I guess, of those being like Pokemon X and Y, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and Pokemon Legend Arceus. And maybe this is a Game Freak thing then, but like, Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire felt very, very fully fleshed out, and I get that they had a basis to work from, basing it off of a different game. But I think a lot of the extra content and like the way that game played was great. It didn't seem unfulfilling, and I think I haven't played it in a couple of years, but were I to go back and play it again as an adult, it would feel full, and it would make sense. Whereas a lot of the decisions in Pokemon X and Y are strange. There was just a lot missing. It was a shame, because it was fun to play. I think the story was good. And there are a lot of things I like about it, regardless of it being the first Pokemon game I played. And I've replayed it, and I still enjoyed it. But I mean, there are other offenders within the Nintendo sphere that I don't really know. Like I can't really think about the top of my head. I just know that they are present. Generally, you can see a trailer for a Nintendo game that hadn't been discussed before, and you can be excited about it. And I think at this point in time, Pokemon is the biggest offender. Like, people were reasonably scared by how bad the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet trailers looked. And then the games came out and they looked exactly like that. And they had the hardware to make it better on Switch 2. And they didn't. I mean, I hear it looked better, but the performance was still terrible. It was still incredibly buggy. It just didn't look good. Pokemon Sword and Shield, I think it felt complete. Just didn't enjoy it that much. Pokemon Legends Arceus is interesting because that game was really good. I really like that game. That's at least a top 3 Pokemon game for me. And there are so many things I loved about that game. But it did also, to me, feel like it had the incomplete Pokemon game curse. And I don't know if it's just like Game Freak deadlines are so tight, or they have internal issues within the development team. It could be a million things, but it just doesn't feel like they're either trying or that like something is wrong. Because Pokemon gave them, like, if you gave them more time, or like that Pokemon Legends Arceus could have been the best game on the Switch. I feel like I remember performance issues not nearly as bad as Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But I mean the graphics weren't good. Straight up, the graphics weren't good. The game didn't look phenomenal. The music was great. The music was phenomenal. I will say that. The music was good. The gameplay was good. The gameplay was good. It was so different from anything in Pokemon, and I think they made good choices taking the risks that they did, and I think it paid off. I know people that love Pokemon Z to A. I know people that said it was just good, but I haven't played that. I was planning to get it for myself when I got a Switch 2. But biggest thing about it is that the Pokedex, like the amount of Pokemon in the game, feels kind of shallow. Like when the post game is fill out your Pokedex, I don't think there are like that many like other quests. I think they had enough room to do some other quests, but again, I think it was just rushed. That they couldn't flesh out the game more than they did. And it's a shame, because that game is still wonderful. I would at least give it an 8 out of 10, if not an 8.5. I don't know about a 9, but there was a good foundation for that game, and the gameplay, the extent that it was given to us as consumers was good, but there wasn't that many Pokemon to catch, and so once you've done that, you run out of things to do. And I think most Pokemon games that are considered good don't suffer from that, because they give you enough Pokemon to catch, to where and other things to do once you finish the game, to where you at least have a reason to keep coming back after you play a couple hours of the post game. So, the game's existence makes me a little sad for the fact that it could have been something great, but I appreciate it in the form that it was given to us regardless. What's good is I quite liked Paper Mario the Origami King. I wish I finished that to see what the post story was, but I was on the final boss and I couldn't figure out how to attack Bowser or something. But for that game was like refreshing. That game looks really good. The game's story also very good. I had a very fun time playing it. I didn't love the battle system, but I understand that they were trying to do something new. And I mean, it was something new. But it's like, what can you do? Nintendo's always trying to do, something new if they think that they want their product to sell, because they don't, it's not like they put out the same game every year. It's just when they want to release something they've already released, they just do it and then upcharge the hell out of it because they can. But they don't try to market it as something new, at least, which I can respect. But yeah, I actually did quite enjoy that. Paper Mario the Origami King. My thing, like, I didn't care for the sidekick Olivia. I don't know, I just thought she was annoying and kind of like, her presence could have been totally irrelevant and I would not have cared. Like, if she was removed from the story completely, like, I feel like she wasn't instrumental at all, or like specifically her being the way that she is didn't matter, because like technically it's like, the master folder or whatever made her and her brother, and then her brother turned evil, and then Bowser and stuff. But like, Olivia's character is just kind of annoying, and they could have just been like, oh, some evil guy is folding up these creatures, and you have a random sidekick that's something else and not Olivia, and I would have been like, okay, this still makes sense. So I wish they either wrote the character better or just didn't have her. ghost story too. I just didn't finish it. I know there was stuff you could collect and stuff, and obviously, as I've said a bunch of times already, I like collecting stuff in games. That's one of my favorite things to do when I play a video game, especially like an RPG or something. So that was an aspect I enjoyed of that game. I haven't had much desire to go and finish it, but it's whatever. I'm interested to see what they do for the inevitable Pokemon Black and White remix. I assume they're going to combine whatever they did for Pokemon Black and White 1 and Black and White 2. I haven't played those games, and I was going to pretty soon. I'm finishing up playing Pokemon Platinum right now, at least the story. I don't know how, Jesus Christ, this fucking guy. He's going like 85 in the right lane, even though I'm just following traffic in the left lane going like 75. Of course, he is big and entitled, going to make a lane change around somebody in the left lane without using his turn signal now, because he got stuck behind a bus going 85 in the right lane. This is what I'm talking about, with the entitlement of people. Especially those who happen to drive giant terrorist vehicles that exist for no other reason than to show off to other people and make them intimidated by you or what you think is that. But I promise you, we look upon you with disgust and contempt. I don't respect you if you choose to drive a vehicle like that. However, I do want to continue talking about Pokemon and what I was thinking about the Black and White remakes. I hope they're good. I hope they're not styled like the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, I think it was. Whatever the Gen 4 remakes were. The art direction of that game was the entirety of the reason I did not buy it. I wanted to play Gen 4 for so long because people hype it up so much. I'm like, well, I had to play. But that game looked so bad that I'm like, I would feel almost embarrassed playing this. I think my friend, as in Ben, we know our name, we know some of our names now. Ben got it for Christmas or something when he was 17, I don't know. A couple years ago, whenever it came out, and he beat it in like 10 hours. That's a $60 game. You beat it 10 hours, and it's like you're not really that interested in playing that much longer. It's a shame. So I hope they do a lot more things right. I would have loved to see Pokemon Black and White remakes in the Legends style, at least closer to the way they did Legends Arceus, because that would have been sick as fuck. And I think doing an adaptation of a regular, like a standard Pokemon game into the Legends style would be really neat for a remake. It'd be something new, but I think because they put out G to A within the last year or whatever, I think I feel like Pokemon, the Gen 5 remakes are close at the very least. Especially, like, given how how they released Black Bolt, White Flare for the TCG, and I don't know, I think they've been doing some promotions for Gen 5, but regardless, like, yeah, I don't know, it would have been cool. So I hope the characters don't look like little chibi boomers and like fucking Lego Duplo pieces like they did for the Gen 4 remakes. I don't know, I just hope they're good. I'd be enticed to spend money on a Pokemon game again, which I haven't since I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it might have been Pokemon Legends Arceus, because I didn't play Gen 9. I didn't buy Fire Red Leaf Green when it was re-released. But I mean, I spent money on Pokemon cards I collect very avidly. But I haven't bought a Pokemon game since winter of 2022 or something like that. Whenever that game came out, it was like January 2022 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, if they make something good, then I'll buy it. It's as simple as that. But I mean, I've heard I'm gonna play Pokemon C to A sometime, but I just haven't spent money on video games really in a long time, because I've been really like I kind of have to force myself to do things I like, and that is apply to video games. You know, it's just something I did as a pleasurable activity without much thinking, throughout my entire childhood. But I brought my video games to college, and then I didn't really play much at all freshman year. I did on my computer, I played Steam games. I did play some emulated games, because I did set up my emulators and stuff in the summer between high school and freshman year of college, but I've been really trying to more this year, because I know it is something I like, and I feel like there were so many games I missed out on as a child, or just, I just never played, and so I'm playing those and I'm enjoying it again, which is good. But there's nothing on the Switch 2 where I'm like, oh, I need to buy a Switch 2 so I can play these games. I think a new 3D Mario would absolutely change that. If they put out I feel like a new 2D Zelda wouldn't. I feel like a new 2D Zelda would definitely get released on both. Because that's not like an intense game. That's not like something that's going to be taxing on your Switch 1, unless it is. But why would it be? A new 3D Zelda, I mean, they put out Tears of the Kingdom like 2 years ago, I guess. It's been 2 years, which is funny. I've had that game for a long time. I haven't played it. I haven't. But I don't know. I think a 3D Mario would be my biggest pull to actually buying a Switch 2. And then, yeah, I would probably buy Mario Kart World at some point, Pokemon Legends C to A, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like Tomodachi Life, I can just buy on my Switch 1, and it's no big deal. But I would like to have a physical copy of it, because so many of my games on my Switch were digital before I really understood the consequences of that. Like, will Nintendo be able to revoke my access to those games once they stop supporting the Switch? Like, at the very least, I'll have my physical games, and I'll be able to pop them into the Switch, and I'll play them, and it's great. But there's so much uncertainty with buying digital games. I have a bunch of them, and it is what it is at this point. But if I'm buying a game, I think I'd like to get a digital copy, unless it's like something cheap and it's like whatever. But Nintendo games aren't something cheap and just whatever. They're $70, $80 now. So for $70, you better come with a fucking inch wide piece of plastic with a little bit of metal, whatever on it, because it means something. It is something. I can hold it in my hand and there's a game in there. So because of the fact that I'm playing all these emulated games recently, I'm not super itching to buy a Switch 2 or anything on there. I didn't watch the new Nintendo Direct, which was like a month ago or something. But judging by my friends' reactions, like, there was nothing like mind blowing that would have changed how I feel about the Switch 2 right now. I thought I had like a segue when I was talking about Pokemon specifically. I think the reception to Super Mario Wonder was good. I would like to move away from Nintendo. I just don't know what else to talk about. But I haven't played Super Mario Wonder. That's another game I'd like to play. But again, it's $60 for 2D Mario, and it's been that price since what? The Wii era. I assume New Super Mario Bros. U for the Wii U was $60, and it's been like that at least since then. But Super Mario Wonder got a pretty warm reception for being 2D Mario, and it actually, the gameplay, it wasn't just updated Super Mario Bros. U like they had done. It wasn't glorified Super Mario Bros. Wii like they had done for the Wii U twice, 3 times, I guess. I mean, people like New Super Luigi U because it was specifically very hard. New Super Mario Bros. DS, wonderful game. That is probably the best 2D Mario. I love that game dearly. New Super Mario Bros. 2, it's pretty good. It's very strange. I don't know. It's weird, but it is 2D Mario. Super Mario Bros. Wii, I actually haven't played. I never owned that game for myself, so I'd only play it at people's houses, even though literally everybody ever has that if they own the Wii. Except for me. I've got it downloaded for Dolphin, so I'll play it at some point. But I haven't played it. I mean, that game was innovative. I mean, it was very different from New Super Mario Bros. DS. And after that, though, like the Wii U version, the deluxe version, like, it's just, I don't know, pretty bland. I think as far as I can tell, pretty easy. Like, obviously, New Super Luigi U was like the challenge version, and it was more fun for people. But it, like, I don't think it had that much depth to it, and it wasn't like a full game or anything. But I think it was like a fine spin-off. But the fact that they did something, and it was very different for a game franchise that's integral to Nintendo's brand. think that sent good signals back to corporate and their dev teams, in that, you know, they should still be willing to do new things, to, you know, make games at the quality that they have been, but also with the same charm, the same, you know, quirks that make it a Nintendo game. Because, you know, if I buy a Nintendo game and it doesn't really feel like a Nintendo game, I'm not really going to be that interested in playing it. Because, you know, as much as I can talk about how good I think Nintendo games actually are, for me and most people my age that are still playing Nintendo games are doing so out of nostalgia for the characters and for the games they grew up with. And I'm glad Nintendo's still putting out good products for kids, because, you know, they're a family-friendly gaming company for the most part. But, you know, it makes me a little happy, at least, to see young children that are still into Mario, that are still into Pokemon. Because, I don't know, I think it makes me feel like I'm a little less out of touch. But I guess because I don't really see kids anymore, I don't know what they're into, and I like Mario, and I just think it's cool that, you know, they've been doing this for so long and they're still able to touch so many kids' lives with that stuff. And I guess it just means a lot to me, because I worry for the children, because screen time, iPads, and, you know, free computer access, it's been so detrimental for kids that are like age 7 to 17 right now, maybe a little earlier, like 5 or 6, but that age range has been set up for such a difficult life, with how much they were spoon-fed, just anti-intellectual, anti-learning, just mind-numbing content. Just so much stuff that's unengaging, it doesn't make you think, it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't make you want to do anything. And as well as, like, the school systems have absolutely failed them, but it's not the school's fault, it's the government's fault, as everything has always been. I had to make sure I wasn't speeding too bad past that speed limit, which I wasn't. I went 65, but they got a work zone coming up, so they want you to go 60. Oh, this guy's a butthead. And guess what? He's driving a pickup truck. Yeah, I worry for the kids. The state of education is an absolute shambles. Maybe when I drive back to school, I can talk about the fall of intellectualism in the current state of the world, because it's something that plagues me deeply, and I hate it very much. There's a lot of things about the world I hate right now. I'm trying to talk about happy things. So what I'm saying is, to see kids start to engage with positive media, and I mean, like, anything really, like Mario, Pokemon has always been about teaching kids good lessons. I feel like, for the most part, you know, you stop bad guys who are taking advantage of, you know, helpless animals and things like that. Although it's like, you know, the new enemy teams are like decreasingly evil, and it's like they just, you know, I don't even know what's up with Gen 9. I'm out of touch with that for sure, but, like, you know, the last real evil team was Team Flare. You know, he was doing, like, that guy was doing some real evil shit. I don't really know what Team Plasma was doing, but they were doing evil shit. And Team Galactic, evil shit. Team my Team Aqua, doing evil shit. Team Rocket, was Team Rocket in Gen 2? I mean, I guess. I don't really know. I haven't played Gold, Silver, Crystal, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, whatever. But, I mean, Team Rocket was Gen 1. Giovanni was doing evil shit. And then, they run through stealing Pokemon, whatever. So, I don't even know, but Team Yell, it's just troublemakers, and Team Skull. They were just I don't even know what was up with Team Skull. I forgot. I haven't really played Gen 7 in a long time, but they weren't evil like the other teams were. They were just kind of we like bothering people for fun. So I don't know. I think kids engaging with that, because at least you're playing Pokemon, you can strategize. It teaches you how to manage your resources a little bit at least. But it makes you think at least. I think playing video games in general isn't nearly as bad as the people that raised people my age, the people that raised them wanted it to be, because it kept them inside, kept them glued to a screen. I mean, I obviously don't think that's the best for your health, but I am somebody that cares about the state of education, the state of people's ability to think now more than ever, and we didn't even give those kids a chance. We just handed them iPads and Cocomelon and said, "Here, I'm not going to pay attention to you as long as you stay quiet." And the school systems are teaching them to read by guessing words, and illiteracy is at such a high rate of never before seen, at least in the modern era. And it's another thing that's just so depressing is that these people are getting ready to be able to vote at the high end of the age group, but then they're the kids that are in elementary school, middle school, they're in these classes that they don't have to put any effort, because they're required by the schools to pass these kids. They can't fail them, and they're not learning, they're just learning how to get by without putting in any effort. They're learning what they can do to cheat a system that already coddles them severely, and I think it doesn't do them any good. And I think most people know this. The kids don't know it, they don't understand, and it's not their fault. Nobody should be mad at kids that at Gen Alpha and late Gen Z for not being intellectually developed as they should be. But there were consequences of COVID happening, which inevitable. You can't avoid that. But socially, emotionally, intellectually, compassion is at an all-time low. There's no kinship among people anymore. But that's another thing that I'm not really wanting to touch on right now. But some of these kids are just fucking evil, because the internet, all they do is sit at their screen and watch TikTok, watch YouTube, watch Instagram, and they don't know any better. And as angry as that makes me, we have to teach them how to learn, how to want to learn, how to want to understand. And at least when they're playing games that are video games, just most games in general, it's at least teaching them how to think about approaching a problem, conduct method assessment about how you're going about doing something. It's at least better than getting spoon-fed content that is either just trying to take advantage of you, sell you something, like trying to radicalize you towards like just evil beliefs. There's so much content in creators like clavicular. I mean, in the current sphere, anyways, like clavicular. I don't even know if Aiden Ross is that relevant anymore. I don't even think like Kai Cenat's that good of an influence. I respect him, being a black person succeeding on top of like completely dominating his scene. So like there are a lot of these creators that get fed to young men in particular, young boys, they spread these conservative views about religion, about women, about race, when they're just taking advantage of these kids for views. They don't care about those values whatsoever. They want to make their money and do whatever they want with it, because these kids are like they can't stop watching this shit. They can't get off their phones. I can't get off my phone, but at least I'm not stupid enough to watch clavicular get frame mobbed by the ASU frat leader, or to tune into a Kai Cenat stream where he's just like doing nothing. It just, I don't know. I can't give that guy too much shit because I haven't really given him a chance. But I've seen enough where I'm like, I just don't think he's a good role model for kids. Now, I respect the hell out of IShowSpeed. I think he's made some poor choices in the past, but he's either just a little older than me or a little younger than me. And especially if he's a little younger than me, he's accomplished so much as a diplomat for underrepresented communities, for black people in the United States, in a time where racism has come back out of nowhere. And again, it's because of these content creators like Andrew Tate, when he was at the top of his level, and now these kids are transitioning to watching things like the Nelk Boys or Joe Rogan or adjacent creators, and it's sad because it's all they know, because they weren't taught any sort of compassion in their education or by their families, and it's harming them, and they don't know it. And it's obviously so much worse for the women, the black people, the Jewish people, the Indian people, that they're targeting because they're told they can. The people that they watch on the internet show them that these are people worthy of your beratement and your mistreatment, because they're made to feel that they're better than them, and they don't understand that we're all just people. Nobody's worth more than any other person in the flesh. In the soul, sure. If you want to talk money, then yes, by the technical definition, yeah, you've got more worth. But that's one of the most hollow ways to qualify yourself. The most, if you're defined by your money, you are a shell of a person. You are a vessel for your money and nothing else. so often they just don't care. It matters the most to them more than helping people, teaching people to be kind, gaining knowledge as to build a better world for yourself and for your peers and for your fellow human beings in general. I think at its core, an American problem. Like, everyone is racist everywhere. Like, you can't escape that. But I think specifically in the 2010s, there was such a feeling of camaraderie about every person being a person. There was no real hatred towards any group. And kids, I remember being taught about loving people from all backgrounds. They didn't. I think when I was receiving those kind of lessons in like first grade, second grade, I don't know if gay marriage had been legalized yet, and also I don't know how comfortable those teachers felt talking about it, and so I understand that they didn't. But I at least remember being taught not to be racist by my school teachers. Some of these younger kids, were in COVID and they were just trying to give like math and reading lessons. Nonetheless, teach them how to be kind. So, like, so many things in this world have failed these kids so horribly. And yet they are also entering the adult world illiterate, unable to do basic math, no reading comprehension, no problem solving skills, no critical thinking skills. All they know is how to be hateful and things they've picked up along the way from their families and by themselves are hopefully enough to get them by. But the bottom line is that the American education system has failed them because the government has. The government is, we don't fund education already, and then since Donald Trump has taken the office again, he's gutted education that much more. Like, I'm not going to pretend like education was good under Joe Biden, and it's also not his fault. I think, illiteracy and that sort of thing, it really started to take, it started to be noticeable during COVID, which, if I recall, was the Trump presidency. At least began in the Trump presidency. And so, the systems that he had put in place, I'm sure by already gutting programs and, setting things in place where you can't let these kids, you can't let the kids fail or whatever. That's like a big Bush thing. I don't know how much of that, of his things are actually in place still, but it's like, it's hard not to worry about that, but you want the best for your world, and when so many young people who don't know better, don't understand that they don't know better, and don't understand that there's another way, and if you try to tell them that, what is happening in this world is not right. This is not how things were ever supposed to be. We were supposed to have a better life where we were kinder to people, where we were, helping everybody, where we had, means to make ourselves happy and then do unto others as well. But instead, it's just, how much can we hate this marginalized group for my own amusement? And how do we dig them out of that hole? I think, there's a portion of them that will have something happen to them probably, and then it'll help them ease into a mindset of, how do I become more empathetically available? How do I help? I want people to understand my situation, and I've realized that I should have been much more aware and accepting of the world around me. And I think if you're willing to admit that what you were doing in the past was fucked up, and you didn't understand, but now you do, and you feel remorse about the way you treated people in the past, I can respect that, and I have no issue with you being the person that you are now, because you've clearly shown that you've learned something, that you've gained something in terms of your heart and your soul. And then there's going to be a portion of the population, primarily young teenagers that are going to be our next era of men, who are going to hold those values forever, as did their fathers and their grandfathers, because it's so cemented in their family culture and the culture of their community outside of their family, that there's no way that you're going to get them to change. And the reason for that is because most of these people are in one of two categories. They're either upper middle class or richer, and they have enough privilege to where they don't have to deal with any real hardship in their life. And that doesn't force them to want to make a change. And people who are that comfortable and that well off are just so typically unreceptive to any sort of change in their life, because they've never been made to feel like they have to change. And then there are people, and this is something I've become made aware of more recently. You realize, I'm glad to have learned this so I can understand where this logic and thinking comes from in these groups. And this is the group of people who are already impoverished, who can't afford to feed their families all the time, or are just getting barely by, paycheck to paycheck, whatever. In rural communities or lower class urban communities where there is a lot of hatred because your situation is bad, you don't understand what you did to deserve this. There are people above you that are telling you your life is difficult because these people made it difficult, and the people that they're talking about are their neighbors. That's how white people raised in black communities or like Latino communities become hateful towards those groups, because they're convinced by politicians or the internet that black people are so violent, and black people are so they're so loud and uncivil. And you see the worst parts of it, because people around you are forced to live in poverty as well. When people's basic needs aren't met, that's when they start killing people. That's when they start stealing. That's when they start, hurting other people, because they don't know what else to do to get their needs met. The reason crime is so much lower in areas where the income is higher is because people don't feel the need to steal. People don't feel the need to harm each other for the sake of securing money or securing resources. And that's the bottom line. Like I think earlier today or last night, I watched this video about a guy who was in jail during COVID when stimulus checks were being handed out. This guy was in jail with a bunch of guys, and then they got wind from guys in another jail who they were applying for the checks, and by law there was nothing preventing criminals from receiving this money. And he was saying, like, yeah, the government, or not the government, but like the commanding officers and the people who were in charge in the jails, like, they really didn't like that, because they view those people as lesser. They're prisoners, and they're in charge of you. Like, most prison guards, most prison cops, they don't have a good view of their the people that they have to deal with, which you can understand to a point. You also have to realize they're people, and unless they did some heinous shit, like kill somebody on purpose or rape a kid or whatever, you have to understand that these are just people. And this guy and the people that were in that jail with him, they signed up for those stimulus checks, they got them, and immediately, these people, they had their basic needs met. They were attacking. Okay, so my mom called and I talked to her, but I'm back. And so, what I was saying is that those people immediately saw a plummet in the rates of violence and stealing from other people, and everybody was generally happier because they were able to afford the things that made them live a little a bit comfortably, or maybe help them pay off some of their debts or whatever. But it's a really funny thing. And it all ties back to the fact that if we had social programs that help the people, redistribute a little bit of wealth from people who have hundreds of billions of dollars, $1 trillion, maybe there wouldn't be these skewed perspectives of different ethnic groups just because of things that occur that people really have no idea about. We can argue, okay, then why is it so often that gang violence is seen through Mexicans or through black people? And I mean, it's because we've sentenced them as an American society to live in these places, systemically through decades now. Even since the 60s, since the civil rights movement, black people, a lot of them, and like the people that are still living poor, so often were made to live in these areas because of racial prejudice, and their families get stuck into systems or debt traps that keep them there. And that's what results in stealing, in drug dealing, in drug making. Like, this can all be explained, and these problems can be solved. But our government is so awful. It's so terrible. It's so abusive. And I do wonder what life is going to be like after Donald Trump's presidency, because let's be fucking real. He'll be dead. He's going to die. He's been dying for a long time. His entire presidency, that man has been dying. He has got fucking alien medicine. that is keeping him alive, stuff we've never seen, the stuff the public's not going to see for 30 years is keeping that man alive. I promise you. But that guy's like, he's going to die. He's in such bad health. He's shitting himself all over the place. He's got a stroke. He can't walk in a straight line. Like, let's be real. Even if he would violate the Constitution and run in 2028, like a weird amount of people think that he's going to, and he has alleged to before. As much of a doomerist, nihilist, Debbie Downer I am about life, I can at least feel pretty confident in the fact that Donald Trump will not be president in 2028, or I guess after 2028. I think it's also at least somewhat promising that we haven't seen a pretty prominent Republican figure come through and show signs of, oh, this is going to be our guy. So in one regard it's like, well, what do we know what to expect? Should we elect another Republican? But also, if the Republicans don't have their guy, then it's, what do we have to worry about? If the Democrats don't have our guy, because there's not enough confidence in either side. But more importantly, there's not enough confidence in the Republican side for them to put somebody up on the pedestal already. But we'll see, in the coming months, coming years, whatever. I guess coming year. Because we're almost halfway through the first Trump presidency, rather than the second. But he's just so bad. I don't like him. Man. If it's J.D. Vance, I'll be happy if J.D. Vance is the Republican nominee for 2028, because that man has zero charisma. The public hates him. I think the way he becomes the nominee is if he gets enough confidence in the MAGA base to where and that there's not really another strong presence of another Republican candidate, to where that he's the one that ends up getting the vote. But again, MAGA base, I feel like, is going to be the largest majority by far of him getting votes, because they're stupid. First of all, if anybody that supports any facet of MAGA is either stupid or evil on purpose. And so they don't want to vote for anybody else because, oh, that was Trump's guy. So unless Trump, before he dies, is like, I hate J.D. Vance, which he very well could do, would not be the most surprising thing to come out of that man's mouth even in the last month. 111 missiles, they get a lot of information on Japan. Shut the fuck up. So yeah, I really don't think J.D. Vance could garner nearly enough of a voter base because the public hates him. All Democrats hate him. I think most Republicans hate him. Like most anti-MAGA Republicans, I think they also hate him. Which I think is fair. I just don't think you should be a Republican. But that's just me. But yeah, the fact that they don't have another figure that could even possibly be in contention, other than like what, Marco Rubio? Who the fuck is voting for that guy? It's not like we can vote for Ted Cruz. I think he was born in Canada, I think. Wait, his name is Rafael Cruz. His Mexican. His dad, I think his dad was 100% Mexican, if I'm not mistaken. That man is very, very, very Hispanic, and he's so racist and corrupt. Fuck Ted Cruz. Fuck Republicans. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck J.D. Vance. What else? I also hate Democrats. Like, I'm registered a Democrat, but don't get me wrong. I am a leftist. I support leftism in America. The only reason I will ever vote for a Democrat that isn't, outwardly expressing any leftist views is the fact that they're not Republicans. And at least in their complacency, what they're doing is, instead of implementing any good policy, what they're doing is not implementing Republican policy, which is better, at least. It doesn't really help anyone. It just stops things from getting worse, But again, that's a whole other thing. I vote for Democrats because I have to. Because the two-party system is terrible, and America sucks for 1 billion reasons. I feel like I was going somewhere with the whole president thing. I don't really have that many more thoughts about it. I'm less than an hour from home. I didn't think I would be talking this long. But this has been interesting for me. So I normally listen to music and a podcast and music and go back and forth. I try to listen to new albums. But I don't know. I wanted to talk, like as I said in the beginning, I have a lot of thoughts when I take Adderall, and which I'm prescribed for. I'm not I don't abuse substances that I'm not prescribed, but it does get me going a little bit. Maybe next time I'll talk about my chemistry projects. That'll be fun. What was I gonna say? Shit, I don't know. I had a thought. I was gonna talk about that. Oh yeah, music. I was gonna talk about music. I love music. I love making music. I love listening to it. But I get really antsy if I don't have new music sometimes. But I also really only like listening to stuff I already know I like. So it gets kind of hairy when I start really not liking the stuff that's in my playlist that much anymore. But then I also have no desire to listen to something new, and that gets really frustrating. And I think listening to new albums in the car has helped me because it at least exposes the music to me. And even if I don't love it on the first time, sometimes I do still really like it. And then I'll give it more of a chance when I'm listening to it, in my headphones or something. And then now I couple of albums now. Like after I had started listening to them in the car, I've probably been through 5 or 10 albums, and so I do need to find new ones because I guess I have precedence for the albums I have set for the albums I have downloaded, and I have an idea of what I think their vibe is, and it could contradict or just not mesh well with what I'm feeling at that point. So it's like a weird thing where I have to really, really want to listen to something, or at least be thinking about an album beforehand, or thinking about an artist beforehand. But in recent months, probably the last 2 months, I added like 20, 30 songs to my playlist finally, after it barely changed in probably 6 months or more, probably more. But like now I'm listening to, I think it's Jordy Creep, but Gordy Creep I just like more because of the alliteration. But Creep, I've been listening to stuff off of the new sound, and it's really good. And I didn't really get it at first. It's not that I didn't get it, it just didn't, I thought it's insanely creative, it's insanely crafty. It's very unique, and now I get it more than I did, or I enjoy it more than I did at least, because I feel like I got it before. I just wasn't loving the structure of the songs, or wasn't loving all the words, but it makes more sense to me now, and I listen to at least half the songs off the album regularly. Finally getting into Deftones more. I think some of the stuff is good. I think I've listened to some of their albums now a couple times, so I'm able to feel the differences between them more, and then by proxy I get I just understand how Deftones writes their music now, and so some of the songs do sound very similar, both in albums and between albums. But now I'm more able to find things I like within those songs, rather than this chord progression is cool, or this sound is good, but the songs don't feel like that uniquely written. But then when you kind of realize that they are, you just have to get yourself familiarized, which I didn't expect that when I first started thinking about listening to Deftones, because I kind of assumed it would just be a heavier artist, because they're so universally liked by so many people, for people you don't think would like. I think they fall under nu metal, but they're a metal band to me, regardless of what kind. Is that an exit? Am I stupid? Am I being the wrong way? No, I don't think so. Didn't want to be behind these trucks. Deftones, they're so weirdly universally liked, and I honestly still don't get it. Specifically with girls that I knew that were really into this Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, or Clairo, and that kind of music, artists all in that kind of pop, alt pop, bedroom pop circle. But then Deftones is one of their more listened to artists as well. I'm where does that come from? I still don't really know. I think they got popular on TikTok with Gen Z. But I've never used TikTok. I've only really ever used Instagram and YouTube. But that's what I've heard, at least. But even then, it's so dissimilar to those artists that these girls that I know that primarily listen to them. much of it. I thought it all sounded good, but a lot of it sounded so much the same. But it was just like one of those albums where, you know, I was driving, so I couldn't keep track of the songs very easily. You know, where they changed and when they, you know, while it was still like the middle of one song, or like, you know, a lot of the songs blended together a lot, and so it's kind of hard for me to tell. But there are individual songs that I've listened to again, and I've like been like, okay, I like this, and I'll listen to it more. I listened to White Pony. I thought that one was a little better. I liked the writing. I thought there was a lot more. I don't want to say a lot. Another guy driving a pickup truck making stupid moves while he's driving on the highway. He almost rear-ended me trying to make a lane change to the left lane. Now we're in a 3-lane as opposed to 2 lanes. I'm in the middle lane. And this guy was like, he was parallel with me and he was over the white line. Like, why? I don't get these people, man. You know, while I was talking about Trump and poverty and how he could help people just by meeting their needs, there was this guy in a red truck, I think it was another Chevy, that he passed me on the right side to get in between me and another car that were like, you know, 30 feet apart or whatever. And then like 2 minutes later, he got back into the right lane and passed the guy on the right because he got caught behind a bus. Both times without using his blinker. And like, that's what I'm saying. It's like consistently these people are entitled shitheads. And they have no respect for the people that they share the road with. No respect for the people that they, you know, that also pay the taxes that pay for these roads. Like, it's bad out here. And again, something we could completely avoid should our transportation be funded by the government in the public sphere. You know, trains, buses would be wonderful. That's all I'm saying, man. We used to have trolleys running through cities. You know, Baltimore, for example, there are trolley tracks. I think San Francisco, I don't know, that one might still be running, I don't know. But like, in a ton of American, oh shit. You get over, is that guy, take the exit? Okay. A ton of U.S. cities, especially like through the 50s, I want to say, maybe 60s, had trolleys running through them all the time. You could just hop on and off, maybe pay a nickel, a quarter, whatever. It was a public service. It ran on electricity, I think. Maybe some of them were gas, I don't know. But again, they were like, I was looking at a vulture, and then some guy was trying to merge after the merge lane had well ended, and then these guys had to brake really hard. Yeah, the bottom line is that cars, they spend so much extra fuel to transport so fewer people, and it really sucks. But music though, Deftones, White Pony, I think, it was very, I thought it was better written than Koi no Yokan, but I mean, they're also written very far apart, because White Pony, if I had to guess, came out in 99 or 96. I don't remember, but I think it was a 90s or early 2000s album, whereas Koi no Yokan came out in like 2016. production on White Pony certainly wasn't bad. I mean, I would say the production on Koi no Yokan was better, but also came out in 2016. Regardless, I mean, I think Koi no Yokan is still a good album. I liked White Pony better. I thought it was more intense. I thought there was more varying in the writing. Good stuff. Maynard's on that, and I love Tool. I love Tool dearly. It's one of my favorite bands. I also listened to Self-Titled. I thought that was really good. That one's the heaviest that I've listened to. I mean, of them. But I think that feels more. It feels more like I feel like it's the most metal, of the ones I've heard. And I've heard stuff from like Diamond Eyes, for example. It's like some of their other albums, but I don't know if how much of their writing is constricted by their record labels, or how much they want them to fit a certain their music to a certain demographic, So, I mean, that stuff gets difficult in professional music. So, I mean, I get it. But, yeah, I mean, it felt like that's, for me, listening to Deftones by Deftones was like, that's what they wanted to do. What's Around the Fur, I need to listen to that because I think that's probably their heaviest, if I'm correct. I think that's the general consensus, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, I like Deftones now enough. I listened to Gojira's I think it's from Mars to Sirius, or it's either from Sirius to Mars or from Mars to Sirius. That's a good album. I'm glad I like that because I think I just like prog metal in general. But I mean it's probably the heaviest music I've listened to. And I think they're very, very talented musicians. I like what they're singing about. I'm pretty sure that album is very themed around caring for the planet, climate change and shit. Take care of your environment so we can have a place to live and continue to grow our families and things. But yeah, I mean I like. I don't know. I just liked it. That was good, and so I plan on listening to more Gojira. At some point, I just haven't yet. That album was good. What else did I listen to? Those were like the main ones. I tried to listen to a Korn album. I think they're the first one. Is it self-titled? I don't know. But I wasn't feeling it, and so I switched to something else. And I don't think that's like wrong to say. They are like nurse-like, I feel. I don't know. I've never been in one. I don't really have a desire to. Like even before, I developed my distaste for cars. Like, as a child or as a young teenager, I would have been like, yeah, I don't really care. But I don't know. They're always interesting to see because I feel like they're like a matter of TV. Like even if you see them like superstars going through the limos or whatever, it's like you're only seeing that on TV, and that doesn't feel like reality because it honestly kind of isn't. Like those people live such a weird, fabricated, doctored version of life, and it's just so different from what the average human experience is. I would like to say the median human experience, but I'm not really good at statistics or math in general. It's honestly an interesting thought to think about. What is the median human experience versus the average? I mean, the average would obviously. I think this is primarily based on money accumulated and how long you lived, because those are really the only things that can truly quantify your life at least. Gas, food, sheets, nothing else. Gotta love sheets. I don't have to pee. I kind of have to pee, but I can definitely make it. I'm like 20 miles from home, I think. I'm gonna see the place later. I don't know if I'll upload this video tonight or not. Maybe I will. There's an entire grill, like one of the little circle ones that stand on a tripod, just sitting face down on the side of the road. That was pretty funny. Rest in peace, my brother. We'll see the places tonight, probably. Yeah, we're all hanging out for Owen's birthday, which is tomorrow. And then we will be freaking vlogging in Japan. I don't know. I was thinking if I should say it or not, or if it should be a surprise. But a couple of us will be in Japan, and you guys will get to see it. It'll be awesome. I've been out of the country twice before because I went to Italy with my mom, my stepdad, and my stepsister. When I graduated high school, it was a good trip. I have certain memories that are part of it that I don't really hold too fondly, but I think it did give me a good taste of international travel, and it was part of the reason why I was enticed to go on this trip with my friends. But Owen went to Japan last year, and he loved it so much, and he wanted to go back. And it's a place I've always wanted to go. Despite being like somebody, I was insanely into anime in middle school and high school. But even as I've fallen out of that, I think it's just one of the best travel destinations in the world, or at least one that I was most wanting to go to. And I hate planes. Oh my fucking god. Ford F-150 speeding in the right lane as I am in the middle lane doing the speed limit. This guy's at least going 85. Fucker. But yeah, I'm scared of planes, and I'm not like afraid to admit that. I just I like going up to observation decks on tall buildings and things. Like, I think that's fun. And I like going to see stuff from up high. You can see it. And I'm not really afraid of it. But planes are different for me. And I don't look forward to being on this plane for like 13 hours after we already take a short 2-hour flight. But, I'm doing what I can to convince myself how safe it is. And even though I know, like, statistically, these flights are made every day. This guy's like veering into my lane. Like, I'm gonna be nervous until I'm off the plane, right? When I did my last long flight, when I flew to Rome, we flew. I think that was. Same. We fly up to Canada first, and then we catch a plane from Canada. But yeah, when I think the shorter flights make me more nervous because it's just enough time where I'm still worried, like just up until we're landing. Honestly, like. Once we start our descent, I'm like, thank God, and I know the pilot is in control, and I trust the pilot to get us back fine. But just being in the air, suspended for so long, scares me. Once I'm in the air, like probably 3-4 hours, I'm more used to it. I'm just uncomfortable in my seat the whole time, But yeah, just like short flights, I'm just so nervous the whole time. Like I popped a NyQuil for a 2-hour flight a couple years ago to try and sleep. My body, I was just so anxious that it was trying to take me down with it. It wasn't a NyQuil, it was a ZQuil, and my body was trying to go to sleep, but at the same time, I was just so anxious that it was keeping me awake. And then I got off the plane all groggy and shit, but I was awake the whole time. It's whatever. This shit happens every day. And Owen flew to and from Japan and Canada and shit last year, and then he flew to London and back this year, and people go all over the world, and it's just how it is. This is how we do things, and as much as I tell myself that's how it is, I'm still gonna be nervous. So regardless, once we're there, I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. We'll be there for like a week and a half, and it's gonna be great. We go see all sorts of things, and then we come back, and then go back to freaking work. I have the best job out of all of them. To be fair, I'm an undergrad researcher, and I get paid for it. As somebody doing their undergrad chemistry degree, like you can't really complain for much of a summer job than that, right? So I enjoy my job. Because of the timing of this trip, though, I've been stressed about it because we're getting down to the wire here. Like classes start like the 15th or something around then, and I won't be back until late July, and then my PI is leaving for good. From the lab space at least on August 8th, and I'm like, well, that really leaves us just about 2 weeks to finish up both of the projects that I'm working on. So we're trying to figure that out, but what can you do? I'm just gonna be happy about my trip. I'm gonna be appreciative of the fact that he gave me this position, given the circumstances surrounding me asking him for this position, which I will not discuss right now, but maybe another time. I'm very close to home, but it feels like my exit is not here when it should have been, but I think I just am not normally paying attention when I'm up this close. I gotta pee, so I'm trying to think of things to keep me busy while I'm waiting for my exit to come up. And you know what I would like to do sometime? I haven't gone skiing since I want to say 8 years old. I didn't like it. But I mean, you just have to know how to do it. It's really hard to teach a kid to do it if they don't like it. But like, if a kid's gonna like doing skiing or snowboarding, it has to be intuitive for them, because that's just how kids are. And something like that it's pretty intense to try and teach a kid, like given the weather and given how fast you can go accidentally. So I'd like to give it another try. Like, maybe I would enjoy snowboarding too. I don't know. I think skiing could be fun. I just don't like the fact that it's kind of inaccessible when you live in an area that doesn't get like consistently snowy winters, or the fact that ski resorts are kind of rich people clubs. But it seems fun. I know people who like it or are willing to try it. So I would like to do that in the winter sometime. I was just reminded of it because I passed the big telephone poles, like, or electricity poles, I don't know, that go down hills, and it, like, for a while I thought those were like ski slopes when I was a kid, but then they also happen to have telephone poles in. So I'm like, I guess that's just what they do with them during the summer or whatever. But no, just seeing those remind me of skiing sometimes now. Not really for a good reason, but I gotta pee a little bit. I will pee. Let's see, I think they're at Ben's house now. I haven't checked my phone since I didn't even check my phone when my mom called me, but since I stopped at the Knot Sheets that I wanted to go to, I haven't looked at my phone. I don't really know what they're doing. We want to bake Owen a cake tonight, so we'll probably film like 6 videos of it, and then Ben's gonna fry a sausage in a pan. sausage updates, and then Ben's gonna film a video probably that's like, Jack is here when I get there, maybe. I put like a 50-50 chance on that, because we've established that Josh is here series, but I don't know if we've ever done it for anybody else. But it is a place thing, so who knows? I'm finally off the highway. Like 7 minutes left until I'm home. Five is between 5 and 10, I don't know. What's funny is I always fill up before I leave to come home, and usually I end up with about a third of a tank left. This is a 14-gallon car. I don't know what my mileage is like on the highway. But now, being so close to home, I'm noticing that I've got like barely below half a tank, which is funny because, you know, it kind of validates the thought that, oh, when I'm driving faster, I burn more gas, which is like, it's kind of obvious. But, you know, I try to think about the math of that. Like, I'm going faster, so I'm using more fuel, but I'm also driving for less time because I'm going faster. So I don't know where the line is, like, I'm saving fuel by arriving quicker, even though I'm consuming more fuel per, second of acceleration or something, I don't know. Some arbitrary measure. But yeah, I've got, like between a third and a half a tank right now. And I don't go very fast while I'm driving just up this road to get to my house. But yeah, I wasn't going nearly as fast as I do because I was focused on talking, and I when I'm on 81, I normally go between 70 and 85. If I used to go 90. But I'm prefacing this with, I guess not prefacing anymore. I mean, I used to do most of my drives to and from school at night, and there was like nobody on the road. So I'd pretty often have the left lane to myself at least, and I would go 90. But I got pulled over like 2 minutes, maybe like 5 minutes before I got to my apartment. Like 30 seconds from the exit to get off and go towards my apartment when I was coming back to school from home recently. Like almost 2 months ago, but it was closer to a month and a half ago. I was going 81 in a 65. I was in the left lane. It was a Sunday night, 10 o'clock. And this cop pulls me over. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But like, that's just how you drive in Maryland, though. If you're, I guess that's what I'm used to. And I guess I got lucky before. But yeah, like, in Maryland, it's like I'm gonna beat that out. In Maryland, you drive 80 in the left lane minimum. I think if you're driving 85, you have to have a good reason for it. Like, I think if you're going, if it's a 70 speed limit, maybe you can justify going 85. I think 20 over is where I cap out. Like, I wouldn't go 20 over normally But if nobody's on the road, and I guess, like, I'd never been pulled over before, period. And I've had my driver's license for 2 years now. Hold on. 3 years? Maybe 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. Okay, I've had my driver's license for 3 years. I never got pulled over. Because I'm normally a good driver, but when you're on the road and all you're doing is listening to music and you just want to go fast, and it's like, fine. But I got pulled over, and now I know how Virginia roads differ. I think Virginia cops have the most either speeding tickets or just traffic stops in general, either most period or per capita or something. But they're known for being sticklers, is what I've heard. And so I'm a little more weary now. I'm a little more cautious. But while doing this, I really couldn't focus on going more than the speed limit, because I've got my attention directed towards talking, and when I'm doing that, like, I can't focus on driving properly faster. Like, when I'm going faster, I'm always checking my speed. I'm always trying to make sure I'm being safe, while also just trying to be quick. But I kind of autopilot while I'm talking and driving. I just don't drive with people in my car that much. So, being a little safe driver, you know how it is. I was looking at that Vulture earlier, but that doesn't matter. That's whatever. But here I am. I'm at home now. I hope at least one person listens to this all the way through, because that'd be awesome. My mom's in my spot, but that's okay. Bye.